I literally started on time the last couple streams, you bitch. What's up? How's everyone doing? What's up, chat? I'm gonna be honest. I was distracted by playing Final Fantasy XIV. I have no good excuse. Getting ready for the new patch to come out. Want to go hard on Savage so that way I can have Ultimate unlocked after Pro Tour. Oh, I'm stupid lit. I'm pretty sure Ultimate is going to drop like roughly when I get back from Japan. Just so calculated. I'm sure like 99% of people watch this have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm really looking forward to the next Ultimate. I did the most recent one, and that was my first Ultimate, and I really want to do it again. Oh, that was tough. That was I think it took me like 2 months to beat Futures Rewritten, and I sucked ass at it. Oh my god, it was terrible. But I did it in Party Finder instead of like with my own group, so I think I have my clear recorded if you guys ever wanted to see it, but oh, that fight's so good. I'm really hoping the next one is going to be Heidelin and Zodiark related. I think that'd be a cool theme. Ooh, we got a Switch too. I kind of want to get one at some point, but I don't play enough games on Switch. I do plan on getting the new Metroid game and then using that as my airplane game for the near future. Probably could beat it during the flight to Japan because that's going to be like 20-ish hours of flying both directions. But there's a good chance I fall asleep during the flight, so maybe not. Really looking forward to that. I loved the Metroid Prime games back in the day. Oh, they're just so immersive and cool. Oh, I've heard some not great things about the new Metroid game, but I'm going to try to keep my blinders on for that a little bit and make my own opinion when I play it. So, that being said, today we're going to be doing the try to do the first half of the top 8 games. How long is this stream? This is a roughly 10-hour stream, but there's like a lot of yapping. So hopefully we can like get to about here today. Try to finish like the top 8 games, and then tomorrow we'll try to do the top 4 and then the finals. What's going to be your entertainment for Fab? Like, was there a specific Switch game that you're looking at? My game was The World Ends With You Part 2 and Triangle Strategy, but they were like not great playing games. It was like I'd pay like a little bit too much attention, which is kind of tough when you're falling asleep. So let's start off with our very first game. I think I want to listen to the pregame yapping of them talking about the decks and their records, just for like my own entertainment's sake, but I might change my mind after watching a couple of them and being like, okay, I don't want to listen to this anymore. Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, that was a good one. I really enjoyed Tears of the Kingdom. Both of the Zelda games were really good. Highly recommend those. What else have I played on Switch? I haven't actually played that many Switch games. Where's my Switch case? 1 second. My Switch still on. Battery extremely low. That's not good. Oh, wait. I have a game. You should play this. I have 2 game recommendations. If you ever value my opinion about anything, value my opinion on this. These games were incredible. Tunic if you enjoy like Metroidvania games and Dark Souls-y games, it's fantastic. And Sea of Stars if you want a good RPG. Those are two of the best games that I've played in a very long time. I played, I think, both of them last year. And I think Sea of Stars is like probably top 10 favorite games I've ever played now. It was so good. I need to finish the free DLC. Do you like oh god, what was the name of that series? It's like Chrono Trigger, kinda. They actually brought on yeah. They brought on the guy that did the music originally for Chrono Trigger to do the music for this game. It hits. It's so good. Fantastic story, fantastic characters. The whole cast is very lovable. My favorite character in it, you meet him like very early on in the game. It's the fat best friend who's the cook. He's the best boy. He must be protected. He was such a good character. Play both of those games. They are 10 out of 10 games. Tunic and Sea of Stars. Okay, let's jump into this game.
Very well known and loved amongst the scene. And really had a lot of humility about coming into his matches yesterday. You know, there's always some adversity that, Marcin had to fight through at these events. You'll know that if you're familiar with his story time on his streams and content, but he's here, he's locked in, he's ready to play.
That's true. I still need to go watch his story time. I saw that he was doing that yesterday, but I was like, I don't want to listen to... A, I don't want to come in halfway through the story time, and B, I was like, I'm not in the right mindset to listen to this right now. I'm going to go back to playing 14. But I need to... That'll probably be like my drive to work thing to listen to later this week.
Regardless of the method that he's used to actually
I love his story times.
He made it, and that's all that matters. Let's have a look at the deck list here for his chain bound by shadow. Look, of course, benefiting from some of his...
Okay, let's see if there's any interesting card choices here. Yellow Malefics, I feel like was not standard in chain. Maybe it was, and I just... No, if it's Runegate, that's probably standard, right? Now, the guide being slightly delayed was because of fucking doing Christmas decoration shit. Oh my god, I spent my past like 2 days trying to find Christmas decorations. There's so much in the goddamn house. Future Stirrings makes sense. Base of the Mountain, that's pretty good tech. Amulet of Echoes. Chains of Mephetis. I assume that's just for mostly Marlin, but I could see that coming in elsewhere also. Machinations, that's the go again overpower, right? Yeah, all this seems pretty reasonable. The only thing that's like a tech card, I would say, would be like the amulets and the chains, which seem like pretty good picks for this event. Chains for Marlin, amulet for Dash.io.
One-offs like Cull, Deadwood Dirge, obviously restricted down to a singular copy, still can form a part of the game plan, even if not able to be drawn with the same level of consistency.
Oh, wait.
So if you stand...
Is Mordred Tide standard in chain? I feel like that wasn't something that I typically saw in Runegate chains before, but I'm not like that on the pulse of the deck list for Runegate chain, so maybe I just missed that.
Here to pay attention to in this deck. Margin, unlike Jimmy, who we saw on feature match yesterday, very much a Runegate variation of Chain. No longer have access to quite as many copies of Deadwood Dirge, have to find other ways to make rune chance. That's going to be Funeral Moon, it's going to be the likes of Read the Runes. We see cards like Putrid Stirring still available in this list to give some game into more grindy attrition matchups. The one card I want to focus on the most here, 3 copies of Chains of Mephetis in the blue base here. It is the perfect card for this Marlin matchup. If you try and draw cards...
Oh, wait, he's against Marlin?
Going into the Banished Zone, and they can't be played from over there.
Okay, no wonder he picked LL then.
Let's head across and have a look at what we're working with from the Dutchman.
Wait, he's lit.
Aside. Ian Zhang, of course, coming in as your 5th seed, 8-1 in Classic Constructed on Prism. Always been
oh my god, Ian. It is standard? Okay.
Record in Living Legends. Not as squeaky clean as Ian would have liked, but he mentioned he tested a bunch of looks and he feels comfortable on this list. Hailing from TTK, of course, his LGS, and with that top 8 at PT Lille is something he mentioned was quite some time ago now, but a previous Dutch national champion, and of course, the 9th place curse in Baltimore and Los Angeles finally broken to find him here.
Big ups for Team Stroopwafel as well. I understand a very successful weekend across the board for that team. Again, that camaraderie paying off. Let's see if it can take Ian Zhang one step further into our semi-finals.
Get our eyes on the Marlin list here in Living Legends. Of course, plenty of copies of this very powerful pirate cards. We've got Conqueror of the
Face
Heights.
of the Mountain, makes sense.
King Shark Harpoon, crucially looking to rip attack actions out of the opponent's hands. And a lot of cards...
What's with the spacing on Hammerhead? It's like misaligned.
Let this deck do its thing. Art of War, 3 of. Cash In, 3 of. Golden Tipple, of course, 3 of in the yellow variety here, and blue.
I really like the Lace with Inertia pick. I've been seeing a lot of people not play Lace and Seek, and I just don't understand why you wouldn't play those cards. That seems like one of the best things that you could be doing in this deck. Like, oh, my opponents want to arsenal defensive cards against me to stop my on-hits? Okay, I'm just not going to let you do that. And, like, the whole format... The other strategy that you do into this deck is kind of wait for that moment where you get out of the box and go for your funny turn. But with the Arsenal Disruption, you don't allow them to do that. And they don't want to just like randomly fire off their arsenal a lot of the time. So you kind of price them into having to play like normal fab into you instead of playing a combo deck, which is to your advantage since you're stripping cards from them.
Sure, the Marlin is generating gold and drawing cards.
Amulet of Echoes.
Nothing too shocking here in
Makes
terms
sense.
of cards for the LL Marlin deck. A few things worth watching in this matchup, though. Conqueror of the High Seas, not an automatic inclusion in these decks. It's proven to be pretty stock as we understand the deck now. Going to be a big part of dealing with Chains and Mephetis. You've got to find a way.
Maybe I should have been playing Amulet in my draw my deck.
Base, we've got a couple of copies of Ripple Away. They're not quite as potent against the Boomer Chain list, but here against Runegate Chain, suddenly you can shut off a Rune Chant generating action and really starve the entire.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see the Ripple Aways. That's pretty spicy. I like that. Your blues really don't matter most of the time.
Time to let the table talk, folks. Let's head to the feature match area in earnest to see this first game of our first quarterfinal play out. Marching Bay on Chain, Ian Zhang on Marlin. It all starts now.
Very happy to report Ian Zhang not playing with the Rainbow Foil Marlin I saw yesterday during the interview. Known to be a foil card enjoyer, has remedied that disgrace, making our way down into the feature match area with a Marvel copy.
Wow. Just got a shit on him for his card choices.
Might be able to squeak some overpowered damage through before the game really gets started. Best of luck to our players. We are seeing best of 3 in Flesh and Blood for the first time, and I'm vibrating more than I was earlier.
I would love to see more of that
Ian
best of
Zhang chose
3.
to go first, of course. There's a gold token on the board thanks to Crown of Dominion, the headpiece of choice.
Okay, I can't believe we haven't seen more people like kind of bitch about this. I know it's not a Pheno stream without complaining, right? I'm pretty surprised that they made a full art tunic in the next set, given that we already have a full art tunic that exists in the game. That feels like a little disingenuous to the whole reprint policy thing of, you know, making the cards kind of worse than previous ones. Here he goes. Here he goes. More bitching. I actually had something nice to say today about Fab. I'll have you know. I made a tweet today complimenting just how good the coverage is. I went to watch, just like in my downtime today when I was working on other shit. There's like Magic Worlds going on or something right now. And after watching that for a while, it really made me go, wow, we are so spoiled by just how good the coverage is in Fab. The presentation, the quality of the casting, just so many different little things that you just don't really appreciate until you go to look at shit for another game. There was a guy that was complaining about it and everyone shat on him? I did not see this. I would not have shit on that person. I agree. Also, what is this? What is this nonsense over here where he's using a mix of like snap fits and top loaders? Ian, what are we doing?
I'm already spying a cash in the hand. That's going to be deployed straight
away.
Oh,
pot agreed.
Certainly be a bit of a problem. Getting overpowered attacks here. Tough to block out. And with the King, Kraken, Harpoon getting into Arsenal and the Lace with Inertia, we are already off to the races.
This is the best possible time for Lace with Inertia. Turn 0.
That was like something that I kind of thought about earlier. I feel like a lot of the, you know, more recent casters to the scene, because we've had a lot of new blood to casting over the past like year or so. Like Scott, like he wasn't, to my knowledge, he wasn't like a mainstay of the casting scene like a while ago. He seems like a more recent addition. I've in my recollection, I've only noticed him being a caster over the past like year. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But like, you know, like other people too, like Ellie and Bryce rather. You know, they've been doing stuff on their own, but like in a professional capacity, they're newer to the casting scene. And I've been noticing over the past, you know, we've been, you know, doing this content, watching these um, you know, top cuts and everything, these games. And I've been noticing like the slow improvement of their casting quality over time, and them kind of coming into their own of like kind of hitting a flow of what their cadence is for casting, and it just kind of getting better over time. And you know, again, I was watching the Magic coverage, and the section that I was watching, it was just like the two casters were just like talking over each other and just like shouting math at each other, and I was like, man, this is just not really that watchable. They're really not even explaining what's going on in the game. And like me, who's kind of out of the loop of Magic things, I'm like, I literally have no idea what's going on. And I couldn't even tell what was in play. Like, they were doing kind of a bad job of the like showing the card in the corner thing. And the camera quality was such that I couldn't even see like the card names really, or like what stuff was on the board. Also in that particular section, the camera was just like moving constantly. Like I don't know if like someone was hitting the table or something, but it just looked unprofessional for World Championships, you know? Anyways, it all that to be said, that like the casting in this game is just so good, and like the overall production quality is so good.
Means it's going to directly affect Margin's first turn cycle. Hook going to be activated here as well to
Yeah, but like at least Riftbound is like kind of new to the scene. They have an excuse.
Value via that inertia. It's the perfect turn 0 for Ian Zhang.
What's Magic's excuse?
King Kraken Harpoon looking for non-attack action cards in the hand of Margin Bay, and I spy a little bit of that action there. Big damage coming in, of course. 10 that Margin Bay cannot prevent.
Like, I want to be honest, Flesh and Blood has no business having production quality this good. If we're being honest, for the size and scale of how big Flesh and Blood actually is, it has no business being this good.
Zhang has a choice of card here. Margin Bay naturally will be able to draw back up and still have a full grip, but this is an opportunity to have some control over what he's left with. It's going to be that copy of Read the Runes exiting the hand.
Difficult choice there for Ian. Does have two rune chance generators in the hand for Margin Bay. He's going to find himself able to get the engine running either way. But Malefic Incantation...
I actually wonder if you're supposed to grab the other one there. It's like probably really close, and it probably doesn't really matter that much which one you grab. I just think there's like a consideration of maybe taking the Malefic, because that's going to be the thing that enables him over the course of multiple turns, where the read is only going to be helpful in the short term. But even then, Majin's probably not even using the Rune Chant discount for like 2 turns, right? Like, he's on 0 shackles this turn. He's probably not going to hit any Blood Debt, you know, immediately. So maybe Shackle 2, he hits something and he uses the discount. So I think you could make an argument for taking the Malefic instead being better here. Yeah, like, they have been doing a crazy good job, Ethan and Savage Feats. Like, you understand why they were acquired by LSS. Like, it
have some control
makes sense.
It's going to be that copy of Read the Runes exiting the hand.
Difficult choice there for Ian. Does have two rune chance generators in the hand for Margin Bay. He's going to find himself able to get the engine running either way. But Malefic Incantation providing incidental value over the course of multiple turns. Read the Runes, theoretically more of a burst in the immediate future. Ian chose to go with the latter here. Let the incantation tick away.
And here, getting the inertia is like pretty sick. It's like pretty reasonable that Majin can't convert his hand here.
Card and carry that over to his next turn. Inzang has been able to,
or the only way he converts is by like activating Grasp.
Many heroes, even a Living Legend, are capable of doing. So it's time for the Rune Blade now to fire back.
Is that a Mordred Tide in the back? That's a foreign language? I think so. Did we just fire off the Art of War? That seems kind of meh. I feel like they were going maybe that direction back in Lille. I've talked about this before on stream, I think. But at Lille, the stream table they had was the first time I think they ever tried using one like this. It was like a custom table for Fab that had like little grooves in it for all the different zones of the game. So like here we have a playmat with like zones printed on the playmat, but for that the grooves were like literally indented into the table. It was cool in concept, but it was kind of ass to play on. It was like really hard physically picking up your cards off of the table. If you go back and watch, you can probably see me struggling to fucking pick up my deck to like put my pitch underneath or like get my fingers underneath my equipment to pick up my cards. It was kind of butt cheeks. But I feel like that was like maybe the direction they were trying to go eventually with that, to like, oh, does this work? Okay, if it does, maybe we'll do that in the future. But that, you know, that technology already exists. Pokemon does that with their prize zone where you can see all the face down prizes. There's no reason they couldn't do that in the future.
Or these RuneGate cards in margin base list than maybe what we saw from Jimmy the Mayor, for example.
Very much a different deck.
Do we Art of War here? The Art of War isn't even that good. Right? Like, I'm spacing. Is Phantom Wraith a 2 cost? It's a 2 for 6, right? So we can go like pitch this, Art of War, Mordred Tide, Grasp, Phantom Wraith, Weapon is like the worst case scenario if the 2 cards we draw are butt cheeks. Like we draw like red, and neither of them we want to cast. I guess this is fine.
Deck is built to utilize those powerful RuneGate attacks, usually synonymous with Vinstet. And so we'll see different sequencing as these turns go on. However, this one, just as iconic as ever, Art of War, going to banish away. I believe that Phantom Wraith from hand will be playable from the banish zone once enough runes.
The Art of War would have been lit on turn 0. He would have just gotten a free card.
Are generated and hopefully provide some extra cards to work with for margin here. In an ideal scenario, he finds.
I don't think it's early for Art of War.
That inertia into upside.
That would be incredible. He could actually destroy that aura.
Like, what's the plan for the Art of War otherwise? The alternative play is like, God, there's no good play here. No matter what, you lose a card, right? No, I guess you don't lose a card because the play would be activate Chain, cast Phantom Wraith, pitching Art of War, cast Malefic, swing Weapon. I think playing the Art of War is better. I just really want to get the Malefic in play, but I think you're sacking too much value not casting the Art of War. If you didn't have the inertia, then it's pretty reasonable trying to pocket the Art of War, but we have an inertia token.
Deck is built to utilize those powerful RuneGate attacks, usually synonymous.
You don't get the Duskblade?
So we'll see different sequencing as these turns go on. However, this one, just as iconic as ever, Art of War, going to banish away. I believe that Phantom Wraith from hand will be playable from the banish.
I don't think it's that deep. It's just most of the time a 1 for 3.
Here. In an ideal scenario, he finds his one.
I just think that you should have Reaping Blade in some of these decks for
he could actually destroy that aura
any of the matchups to the life, like for Starvo.
Fuel his turn. A one-off copy. It's pretty hard to count on that with consistency. Number of RuneGate cards still in hand. Eloquent Eulogy and a widespread. So this is like probably the worst case scenario that we could have drawn into, right? I mean, at this point, maybe we just don't swing the weapon and just leave the card in our banish zone. We have 1 floating. Hey, Ryan, what's up? Hey, yo. Well, the Duskblade is going to be the same as Reaping Blade on offense most of the time. The only time I like the Duskblade more is if you're not really attacking with your weapon very much, so the passive is more relevant. So, like, for Viserai, I think I like Reaping Blade better, because, like, you're not getting fatigued in the same way in the same way Chain is, and, like, giving Starvo space to gain back that life, I think is pretty relevant. But in the case of Chain, I think the Duskblade makes a ton of sense. It's kind of free, just having that as an anti-fatigue tool. But anyways, with this hand, yeah, it's probably just do what we already said, right? Because the alternative would be play the widespread and then weapon, which is kind of butts. Congratulations. What do you get for top 4 promos? I'm like, didn't even pay attention to the skirmish season. It's Blitz. I don't care. Widespread Ruin.
Are the promos cool?
Mordred Tide.
German copy.
Yeah, I think we do the original plan.
Yeah, can I buy a Val? Going to come down here following up the Art of War. Widespread Ruin into the pitch zone.
Worth noting here, we did see go again on this copy of Art of War from Margin. It's a more typical choice than the plus that you would expect from Boomer Chain. Going to find its ability to go wide off of shackles and extra attacks on numerous occasions without knowing what's going to be
probably not relevant, but it's also kind of nice that we're putting a RuneGate card back in our pitch. Hopeful Everbloom. That's kind of cool.
Already being presented 2 rune charms up front, which Ian accepts.
Ooh, Second EA?
Straightforward RuneGate card, folks. It is just a 2 for
Is it a cold foil EA or just rainbow foil?
Relevant damage. It looks like a Duskblade pitch is going to be the last move here. So no action really after the fact.
So if I'm not mistaken here, this Duskblade is ticking up, and Margin chose not to activate Chain. I believe that Soul Shackle is a representation of where they will be. I don't believe one was used there. We had go again from the Art of War in the swing otherwise. And that's a really important part of this game plan for RuneGate Chain. Unlike...
He chose not to shackle? I'm confused. Why would you choose not to shackle? Also, that's like a really confusing having the shackle in play when you don't have a shackle. Why is Florian so good in Blitz? I legitimately have no idea.
Boomer Chain, you're not interested in snowballing that advantage. If you banish too many cards, it's actually problematic. You can't get all of those rune gates out in quick succession. So controlling those shackles with Deadwood Dirge, other removal effects, and sometimes choosing not to activate Chain, a really big part of managing that resource.
Yeah, many of those rune gate cards are attack actions, and you don't always have the action points to deploy them.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to playing Blaze in CC. I really enjoy playing burn decks.
A very reasonable hand for Ian Zhang to have kept. That's why he had 0 interest in blocking. Saltwater Swell comes off the top.
I legitimately don't understand why you went shackle here. Unless it's just a misrepresentation of board state. Like, this board's... Like, having the shackle face up and play is incredibly confusing. I am surprised that they didn't tell him to correct that. I don't think it's like angle shooting or anything. It's just confusing.
A 3 of a kind revealed.
Okay, bit of plus, bit of negative there. No resources found from the Saltwater Swell, but knowing about 3 of a kind in the coming
you
turn
just
cycle,
draw that?
beneficial for both Ian and Margin.
Maybe in this turn cycle, in fact.
Yeah, I kind of like drawing that.
Picked up off the top, the cost of
We haven't seen Ian's hand yet, right?
Seek and destroy, 3 of a kind played in succession.
Can you play Blaze in Silver Age? No, right?
So cards will
or
drawn.
At least yet.
Obviously, a Marlin trigger will allow an arrow to be put into Arsenal off this. Ian Zhang's seen a lot of cards this turn, and it's just as well because that Hammerhead Harpoon Cannon is very expensive to activate. 4 resources required, but we found the King Kraken Harpoon. Constantly having these non-attack actions plucked away from Margin Bay is certainly going to make his game plan trickier to execute.
King Kraken, very painful against this version of Chain, is relying on those non-attack actions to generate rune chance, relying on the shackles and other banish effects to provide you with various attack actions. We're going to see that Hammerhead cracked once again. Unfortunately for Ian, did find too many red cards there, has to pay the Hammerhead the hard way, doesn't get to keep the arsenal, but rewarded with a 13 overpower attack. So far, Ian has done exactly what Marlin is looking to do on every turn of the game.
I want to point out Seek and Destroy is in effect. So once again, Margin Bay is going to have an inertia-esque condition to have to play under. Still won't be able to arsenal a card at the end of his next turn. That is going to be sent away. Still, he'll have to play off.
Hopefully they also give us young Blaze
cards this turn. More
in
a gold token pops as well. He's working with a heck of a lot.
Compendium.
See what Margin's working with on the other side of things here. You're going to see Shadow Aversa. Other side of things.
I think it's a Revel and Shadow of Ursa as the back 2 cards. This hand kind of sucks, right? If we had an extra resource, this is like maybe fine. Because we could go like Ursa, Envelope, Revel, Widespread. But we're short $1. Yeah, Runeblade seems way too good. And I haven't looked at Sage too much, but just looking at what is legal in the card pool, Runeblade seems kind of unreasonable. Do you just like block with this hand? You kind of can't though. Like, you don't really have a turn. I legitimately don't know what the plan is with this hand. Block with Envelope, I guess. Shackle Urser Grasp Weapon? Kind of sucks. Yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to do here. I think what I would choose to do here is flip over a card with Blood Debt, but we don't have any shackles. I would just choose to make the top card of my deck say Blood Debt.
Side of things here, you're going to see Shadow Aversa and multiple Rune Gate options. We see Revel in Rune Blood.
Yeah, Chain looks kind of gross.
With a little bit of luck, but will require that Envelop in Darkness to be played first. So really difficult to sequence this hand here. No Shackle coming for Margin means he does have perfect information to work with. Also, shout out to that Verdance bracelet looking mighty fine front and center.
And of course, we can expect to see Verdance from Margin Bay in our next game of this quarterfinal. It's tough. I mean, Margin Bay's going to show the hand. Ian might not choose to go after the Revel here. He knows that Margin can't pocket it. And Revel does have a couple of conditions that will be trickier to meet with a smaller hand, but no, that very powerful rune chant generating non-attack action is going to be plucked out of Margin's hand. Margin's not been able to really take an off turn here, not been able to set up because
why did we not
he
shackle?
With only the cards that he sees, and sometimes in Chain, those don't amount to too much.
Worth noting here, Margin has looked at the hands and decided they are not worth that massive armor that is available to Chain Bound by Shadow. Still a variety of cards available. Balance of Justice going to come in clutch at some point during this game with an extra card draw. We're going to see our first Chain activation here, and just Duskblade being sent to
I wonder if he
start.
forgot
So
to shackle, honestly.
Of that Soul Shackle. Quadruple checking, yes, actually. My weapon will get go again. Would be a rather embarrassing misstep in the top 8 of a World Championship.
3 we go again, of course, only one counter on the 2 base power.
So we're just going to sandbag the Blood Debt card. I guess that makes sense.
Get bigger and bigger if and only if Margin is able to play an attack action card and non-attack before swinging that weapon. This turn, it's not really a play path available to him. You'd be forgiven for thinking Ian was just checking his hand then with all the cards he's seen, but no, it's just a
oh my god, I loved Noah's point on the podcast this week. Where it was something along the lines of, it shows how much they gave a shit about the Blitz format when cross wrap and oh god, what's the brute cross wrap, the one they roll a dice, are both banned, but Savage Sash is legal. Like, clearly they don't give a fuck about this format.
We've already seen two King Kraken harpoons thrown out to great effect, might I add.
And this is very impressive sequencing here from Margin. Easy to get this.
Oh, we're doing it this way.
Going to find a way to play Widespread Annihilation from hand with this abundance of resources. That is important. This is going to force the issue. The Duskblade has already dealt damage, and so Widespread Annihilation is going to rip a card away from Ian. And now this is the most important part of this game plan.
Okay.
Behind on life.
I kind of like
To
this.
continue having 5, 6, 7 cards to spin through every single turn.
You're off Arsenal. I'm just going to force you onto a small hand.
Activation into a Codex of Frailty to pick up that King Kraken harpoon again.
Yeah, Ian was obviously checking his graveyard. They're expecting to be making a Codex play. So ultimately, a King Shark harpoon maybe was honestly extraneous to his game plan. It was almost anticipating that he would be needing to find a harpoon from somewhere else. So Ponder token, Frailty token, of course, affecting Margin Bay. Not really a huge issue considering Margin's not been allowed to have an arsenal anyway. We'll shrink the power of it.
I don't know what the hand is, but it's probably just an Eloquence, right?
It's a Ponder token for Ian's own. King Kraken harpoon and arsenal, and an activation of Hammerhead, which means, once again, overpower is on the table.
It'll be very interesting to see which of these Rune Gate attacks Margin selects to place in the arsenal. I think it will be very, very telling of the texture of their hand. Typically, Rune Gate attacks, not the best in the arsenal, unsurprisingly. If we see one of the heftier...
Ooh, we got a Chains. We got the funny card. Not really good here. Got another Eloquent. We got an Art of War, and we got a Spellblade Assault. There's a distinct lack of rune chants. Well, at least he gets to block with the chains here, and then the Kraken doesn't have a target to discard. And we can, like, Spellblade Assault, or I'm sorry, we can Art of War pitching Spellblade, banishing Eloquent, and then we can activate Grasp with the 2 floating to throw one of the Eloquents. And then we have a card in our arsenal and 2 random cards off the top of our deck with an action point. We can probably have a reasonable play after that. We still have to discard here, though. I kind of forgot about that. Oh, wait, you just discard the chains. No blocks, discard the chains. Not that happy about saying no blocks when I'm at 14, but such is life. So then it just has to be the Eloquent, right? Because that's like, it's going in our arsenal, so I might as well get the cheapest attack.
The ones picked, we might find ourselves looking to swing it later on. I'm going to see
I want to get the Grasp and Chest in here.
In fact, I think it's a little bit too late for me to try and stop this from happening.
Change of Mephetis, the card we mentioned at the top of the game. One way of making it possible virtually for Marlene to play the game. Very, very challenging that she's not able to actually draw cards and trigger her hero ability to load. But we're not going to have to cross that bridge, apparently. As 10 overpower is being sent yet again, turn after turn of disruptive on hits that are, frankly, nigh impossible to block. Margin Blade does have a pretty impressive fridge, as we call it. 2 block on the Grasp of the Arknight, 2 on the Balance of Justice, 2 on the Bloodsheath Skeletor. And should it be required, Spellbound Creepers does get in front for block duty for 1.
Margin just tanking the hit here. Take a second card away from me after that Codex of Frailty. I only get to use my equipment to cover up Overpower once, maybe twice, depending on the scenarios we find ourselves in. And this one, this isn't the one.
No, that's right. Margin already parted with that Shane's, knowing that King Kraken Harpoon, excuse me, was already face up. But nothing gets plucked out of his hand this time around, but it's the damage that matters. Margin Bay doesn't even opt to use that equipment block yet, but next turn, he likely is going to have to. Ponder token allowed in Zhang to refill that arsenal. He'll be ready to come back with a big hit. Can Margin Bay find a way to pressure Ian Zhang by getting 20 points of damage on the board this turn? He kept the card in arsenal. It will be weakened somewhat because of the Frailty token.
Difficult spot to be in here. Malefic Incantation. Not exactly what you were hoping to find off your Soul Shackle. Would much rather have that one in hand. Will be another Shackle reach for here. This is not all that surprising. Margin now with no concerns about Shackle management throughout the rest of this game, with only 4 life remaining to work with.
It's either that or Shackle himself do the sinking ship.
So we're just going to Arsenal the Art of War?
5 go again is the correct damage total here for Phantom Wraith. The reduction in power. And Zhang saw a furrow of the brow there. Knows that Margin Bay, of course, has the action point refresh, the Soul Shackle generation, so knows there's more where this came from. And Phantom Wraith is essentially vanilla damage. Eloquent Eulogy, not quite so much. Margin Bay looking to create an Eloquence token for himself if your hero's lost life this turn. Has to close the chain for that.
So we're just
taking the damage.
hoping we don't die, I guess.
And the Eloquence token can be pretty important to some of these more degenerate Runeblade turns.
Certainly some tricks to be had.
You know what we could have done? We could have actually just played the Art of War defensively and said defend from Arsenal on that also. Wait, is that the play? Wait. Was that a defensive or Art of War turn? Because we could say defend from Arsenal on the Art of War and then block with the card that we had to get back with Codex. It's probably still bad because we waste the resources. Yeah, it's probably bad. I think it was at least worth considering, though.
Online. And the Eloquence token can be pretty important to some of these more degenerate Runeblade turns.
Certainly some tricks to be had with Eloquence alongside cards like Funeral Moon when it comes to Rune Chant and Action Point Generation. I believe the last card in hand for Margin is an Art of War, so I believe this might be the time to make a stand. We'll have to see how potent Ian's turn is, but I would not be shocked if this is Fridge O'Clock. Going to bust all that armor to keep this hand, try and go big, and force the tempo away from our Marlin player. For now, he's tanking on Yellowfin Harpoon on blocks, would suggest a less than optimal hand. Typically, Marlin not interested in blocking outside of either 3-of-a-kind turns to power up a Harpoon anyway.
I'm still confused about that Shackle decision earlier.
Good selection of cards.
Does Ian feel like there's redundancy in the hand, maybe? There's a lot of blues here.
Double Harpoon.
Like, surely the game doesn't go long enough that you having too many Shackles is an issue.
There's going to be something, of course, that can be banished to certain effects or discarded here. Golden Tipple to gold, refreshed. 2 in the pitch and a card going to be drawn off the... Oh, buddy. Okay. Cash in off the top of the deck for Ian Zhang. He's going to see as many cards as he needs to. And it's just as well, because he's looking for an impactful Harpoon attack here at some point.
Cash in. Almost the perfect find here. If we're able to discover a card like Conqueror of the
I activate Pot of Greed. It lets me draw 2 additional Pot of Greeds from my deck.
Power cards coming up trumps for Ian Zhang, whose turn has gone from slightly awkward to incredibly powerful.
Art of War here less exciting when Ian doesn't have a Goldfin Harpoon in hand. He's already discarded that to a Tipple, but we'll be happy to part with this blue-yellowfin Harpoon in order to draw...
I activate Pot of Greed. It lets me draw 2 additional Pot of Greeds from my deck.
Have we found it? We found that big attack we're looking for, Ian.
I love this deck so much.
That's the 3rd King Kraken Harpoon.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Found off the Art of War here.
And we know that equipment block is going to have to come into play here anyway. Ian's seen too many cards. Margin Bay knows what he's up against.
Ian, I believe, deliberating here on the Marlin load trigger after drawing cards from Art of War. Does, of course, still have 3-of-a-kind available to go a little wider. That card typically saved to fund a turn on its own, no powerful enough to kind of bring you back from a staunch defense.
Yeah, it might end up finding its way into the pocket at the end of this turn for Ian.
Gonna go dig a little
Harpoon. We're looking for buffs
Ooh, we got a pump now.
That would be the suggestion. Catch of the day, the one.
And now we can 3-of-a-kind? Oh, wait, no, we're not.
It's the King Kraken Harpoon. It's the 4th one of the game.
Oh, man, we're just going to pocket the 3-0?
Pain point for Runegate Chain. Another 13 overpower.
He can only
will
block 10.
strip away cards. He can only block 10.
He's got equipment, right? 2 from Balance of Justice, Grasp of the Arknight Skeletor. That's 7 equipment block. Plus
This is why I kind of wanted to block with 1 piece of equipment last turn.
It's the defensive Art of War. We know about the Art of War on the Arsenal. You can give an extra point of defense value to the block. Margin not out of this, but burning some of the most powerful cards just to stay alive.
Well, you see,
Catch of the day was found by that 2nd goal.
Pot of Greed lets you draw 2 additional cards from your deck.
Understood. I need to get this game done.
You now have the history of the card.
So I need to find some buffs. And this King Kraken Harpoon, it's going to trigger twice because of Catch of the Day. If Margin can't remove non-attack actions, we might be losing multiple cards.
Margin can't empty his hand
that's really all there is to it.
Block with 1 action card. And I don't know how many ways around that. that you can expect the Runeblade to have. We also come to Temptation pitched away. That's not actually a reaction. It just acts as one, providing its conditions have been met. It's an action. Martin Bayer, he has had to dig very, very deep. Now, his odds of staying alive here have been improved.
One of my heuristics in Fab of the decks that I choose is I just play whatever deck has the most pot of greeds. That was why I was playing Prism for a while. Like, just has the most pot of greeds, man. Pot of greed on a stick.
One? In theory?
In theory.
Creepers for it?
I'm not attacking anyway. I can't say I'm surprised. The problem we have, of course, excuse me, if Margin's...
Yeah, I think we were supposed to break down at least the gloves last turn.
Which would deal just a pinch of blood depth. Balance of justice is going to be cracked because we need to find something to survive. Margin understands here the situation they're in with all of their equipment block isn't good enough. They're going to lose the game to Deathly Whale, so I am going to break Balance of Justice, look at a card and see if I can find some kind of... Please. Please?
Spare me the lashes, he said it's not to be. Ian Sung!
He played that game really suspiciously. I'm very confused by the way that Majin navigated this game.
Marlin Treasure Hunter can give the stuff here for
in the first round of Living Legend. Viserai, typically a hero that is favored into Bravo state. That may affect information we already have, and we're also going to find ourselves seeing hints of stories coming up that we don't know about just yet. Most importantly,
format and very different decks. Margin Bay will be taking on Ian Zunke yet again, but it's going to be Verdant's Thorn of the Rose and Prism Awakener of Soul, the soul copy of the Light Illusionist in our top 8.
Difficult matchup back the other way.
Now this is going to be a pretty interesting one.
Margin gonna have to find an upset of his own if he wants to stay in this best of 3 match. Verdant's struggling into Illusionist in a way you would expect from numerous wizards. We'll take a look at the list real quick.
Ian is one of the most well-known Prism players in the world.
An uptick in attack actions like Fiendl's Fighting Spirit, and
I haven't had very many chances to actually watch him play, so I'm looking forward to this.
With 7 power attacks, they've certainly got.
Let's see, he's got the scars. That's kind of annoying for us. Fiendale's Fighting Spirit. Does he have the other channel? Doesn't look like it. That's pretty good for us. Brown Bear, that's standard. 2 Autumn's Touch. So he only has 4 7 powers and then 3 6 powers, I think I'm counting correctly. Nothing really too interesting in the blues. 2 Scours. Okay, so it's not super teched for Prism. I'm curious what Majin's strategy is going to be in the matchup, though. That's always interesting to see. Like, is he going to go face? Is he going to just, like, respect board and just try to, like, fatigue the Prism? How much he respects the board is always kind of an interesting thing to see.
Some upsides against Prism too.
Burnbear also is a wizard non-attack that will allow you to break those Phantasm
an itchy nose today.
So those are going to be premium for Margin Bay in this matchup because there's not really a way around it as a Prism player. You can't, pop your Figment to try and get a Figment of Triumph. Like, there's no attack value to be altering to try and get it under threshold. No, your Phantasm attack.
I hate Burnbear so much. That card is so cringe to play against this Prism.
Try and slow Ian Zung down. Let's have a look at the Prism Awakener of Soul list here. This one for me, we heard Ian said he's tuned this one pretty heavily. Obviously, it's very yellow heavy. I think what draws my eye a little bit, you've got a copy of Dissolve Reality in the deck here. That's a card that can
one Command and Conquer. That's kind of weird.
Decks are on, Soul Shield, and that all you got. This is a way to try and give yourself game in both the low to the ground matchups and some of those cooler ones. In this game, Ian, his biggest bottleneck is going to be to get that first card in his Soul. Soul Shield can do that for you on defense. It's pretty hard to play around. It's about the card in Soul.
3 Wraths. 1 Cataclysm. 1 Dissolve Reality. That's pretty interesting. I'm curious what that's for. Maybe it's for, like, some matchups that you want to get rid of their arsenal before comboing. Like, let's say Gravy's pocketing a Call to the Grave for a back alley, and you just want to get rid of that so that way you can combo and play an Arclight, or maybe, like, a Guardian or something that's pocketing a Midas Touch or something. That's pretty interesting. I'm going to ask him about that later.
can get the Figment later on with your headpiece, but you need that. You need that to start to have a big combo.
Couldn't agree more. Soraya, very much the name of the game. Big combo turn, combining that powerful Angel, sometimes with a card like Arclight Sentinel, Genesis, provides multiple threats that need to be removed immediately, and Verdant's not typically a deck capable of removing multiple threats at the same time.
Yeah, Prism in this matchup is not an aggro deck like you would expect to see with those Empyrean Rapture builds.
I mean, you can play it as an aggro deck in this matchup.
She needs them to line up, and more importantly, she needs the space to deploy a full hand. If you do that by trying to play multiple auras, threatening auras that really demand margin-based...
There's actually one interesting thing. He's not playing the new helmet in the matchup. I think it's like pretty good against Verdance if you're going to play the aura game plan. If you're not playing that helmet, I feel like it's almost better just going aggro into the Verdance.
Attention and his action points. Once that room to breathe is there, Prism can start to go off. Let's jump in, folks. We've seen the deck list now. We are ready to start off our second game of this quarterfinal. Inzang versus Margin Bay. Verdance versus Prism. It's about to go down.
If there is ever a wizard who could do it, it is the leader of the council, Margin Bay, primed and ready to tackle Ian Zhang's Prism to make our way into this first game. Ian, reviewing that first hand, looks like a selection
the passing
of blue Spectral Auras alongside
some Figments, I think.
For a little bit of fun.
Yeah, look, I mean, Passing Mirage is pretty important in this matchup. It takes that Phantasm effect away. He's also trying to pierce reality in the same hand, so yeah, blue auras.
I think his hand does nothing.
Margin Bay's got much interest in allowing in.
I think he has 2 Figments and 2 blue auras.
How does his action point get used?
Oh, it's a Genesis? Wait, he's lit.
The first step has been taken for Prism. 2 threatening auras deployed, one more than the other, perhaps, as Genesis is the key card in Prism's list to fuel that soul, allowing you, of course, to put a Light Illusionist card into your soul, get a Spectral Shield, but Burn Bear is going to get sent off.
This is backbreaking for Margin.
I'm fairly surprised to see him play it this way instead of killing one of the auras. Can anyone tell what the bottom pitch card is? Is that a second felling? Oh, right, because this doesn't pitch. I forgot. Yeah.
Margin Bay had the self-control not to send an attack action on that first turn of the game. Didn't have the option to send one once these auras were established. Wants to remove that.
If I'm Margin, I'm like, I think I just lost the game.
2 felling of the crown alongside Burn Bear. Has to send Arcane upstairs and ignore this incredibly problematic aura.
This is already a problem.
That's also huge on the Prism side, getting one of the Burn Bears out of the way without it turning into a popper. Like, if the Burn Bear goes to the face, I'm pretty happy.
Is going to be able to put a card in Soul. Now, you cannot get a Figment off Genesis putting a card in Soul because it's not in your action phase.
Oh my god, what a gorgeous Spectral Shield. Oh my goodness.
But a Spectral Shield already
dripped out.
That is the great library of Solana in hand for Ian. One of the biggest impactful cards in this matchup for now. Going to rely on the Herald swing. Will be met pretty quickly with a 7-power Autumn Touch here to try and shut this down.
The only thing that could be worse here is Ian playing a Merciful in response, Merciful Retribution and putting that Herald in his soul, but that's not what he's working with. I would say that a great library of Solana follow-up is up there in terms of bad for him. Can Ian get 2 yellows into his pitch zone? No, that's also a question that needs to be answered. He's going to...
Well, I think he was debating on cracking his Halo.
Yeah, 2 yellows in the pitch. Great library of Solana deployed, and Margin Bay knows he's in deep trouble.
Margin is deceased.
Getting his big combo turn off is so much easier to do.
Does Margin get 2-0'd?
On at the start of his turn with Genesis, unless it's cleared here, but the extra card he sees for Great Library of Solana means that it is very hard to slow Prism down from here.
Appreciate this tact from Margin. This is not a good scenario, but you cannot just ignore Genesis and attempt to race go face, especially not with a 2-power.
Oh my god, Margin gets 2-0'd. Holy.
Currently on the board, stop these additional Spectral Shields from being generated and try and brute force through that library. Unfortunately, Plow under one of the limited yellows available to this Verdance list does not have the ability to...
I don't know. I feel like...
Pierce reality here, Merciful Retribution.
I know it was kind of tough for him, but I feel like he kind of threw that first game in the trash.
He's going to play that out. Actually plays that out not in response to the attack on Genesis, which would have allowed him to go with Soul, but he's got some Soul action going already. Merciful and Pierce reality get played out. And Margin Bay, all he can do is try and clear one of these Spectral Auras per turn. Merciful Retribution.
Oh yeah, so he can draw. I was like, wait, yeah, why didn't he play it out ahead of time? Library trigger.
We'll deal 1 damage to Margin Bay and go into Ian's Soul. That is its effect.
Brother! What?
Now, these Heralds will still come out with...
Was the brother at something I said, or at...
one off the turn, but can still be popped. Ian hasn't found a Passing Mirage to remove that particular restriction, but...
Or at Ian's just
Herald of Erudition, but there's no
Chadness.
point right now, we still have Phantasm to contend with, so instead it's just a big old Herald of Protection begging to be popped.
And it will
Jesus
be Burn Bear in the hand here for
Christ.
Margin. Small upsides, I suppose. Those Storm Striders were used to cover up that Arcane from Merciful Retribution.
Ian's him.
Actions on the bottom of the deck that we're not doing an awful lot. Burn Bear on
Ian's an animal.
Here. Earth attacks at least going to the graveyards. There is some decomposed fuel available for our wizard.
It's actually pretty nice for Margin. Like, Ian is probably going to IP a card on this turn. And he's not going to trigger the library. This is actually, like, I think the best he could have asked for on this turn, but it probably just doesn't matter. If this does hit, it is pretty good for Ian because then he can convert. No, he still can't convert. Yeah, I don't know. He just IPs no matter what here. What's the last card in his hand?
Herald of Protection for 5. Likely going to continue trying to deny cards in Soul and stop those Figments from turning up into play.
There's an issue here. There are only so many poppers in these Verdant's decks. Normally they can pop the first Herald of the turn, but the second one is an issue. Enlightened Strike can come in for 7.
Yeah, it's like, man, on Majin's side, you're like, if I block this, what's my turn? Maybe keep the blue and play the Arsenal. Do I kill an Aura? All of his decisions here are terrible of like what he could do. There's no good answer. I feel like it depends on what the Arsenal is, right? But I think he needs to get the Pierces off the board. I don't feel like Ian is low enough that he can just Zerg Ian. I don't think he's going to win this game by Zerging Ian when Ian's at 26 with double Pierce and a library, and he hasn't decomposed a single time yet. And he put multiple good reds to the bottom of his deck at the beginning of the game. You're still pretty healthy. Maybe you could fatigue him, and if you see like a double yellow, maybe pop the library. It's going to be tough.
5 power, so won't trigger Phantasm.
He's down horrendous.
Because Majin Bay, of course, has a Shelter of the Storm in hand, but this 5 breakpoint is uncomfortable. It's going to necessitate the Basking of the Millennium Tree to be put out in front. No, not a wrap. Surely not. Oh, dear. At least Majin Bay, nicely done. A great turn to find 2 defense reactions. That was pretty
That's kind of interesting. Oh, wait, that was from Arsenal. Never mind. I was going to say he didn't pitch that, but
slowed Ian down in the grand scheme of things. He only drew 4 cards, though, but he's found one of his combo pieces. Arclight Sentinel has hit the Illusionist's hand.
Majin, again, understands the assignment, needs to remove these Pierce realities and clear some space.
If that's the Genesis in Arsenal, it is go time. Things are about to get disgusting.
That's not necessarily true.
No, Arclight Sentinel going to be pitched away, so not ready for that form of game yet. Herald of Triumph comes out at 9 power, and means that Majin needs
okay, he's playing Red Heralds?
He has. Autumn's Touch is going to be able to trigger Phantasm and blow this attack.
So I'm curious what his sideboarding looks like.
As poorly as this game has started for Majin, the last few turns have had some reasonable sequencing. We're finally going to see that Halo cashed in here.
Now, if Majin was Lucas, he'd have a Burn Bear in his hand right now.
Triumph time.
That's the one. Figment of Triumph going to be grabbed from the deck, assuming it isn't drawn from the Halo, which is always a risk. Going to shrink this Autumn's Touch down 1 further.
Now, importantly to like just kind of know this, the reason he popped Halo here versus like any other time that he could have popped Halo on a popper is because this is 9 on 3 right now. If this was like 7 on 3, I don't think he would have done that because he would have popped his Halo, and then if there's a D-react afterwards, then the Halo is worthless. But I think this is like a pretty good spot to do it. Like, man, have one of your last Burn Bears. I don't believe you.
You might think 6, that's okay, that's still a pop-up. Bad news. Herald of Triumph also a reduction in power, and therefore this Autumn's Touch no longer going to shatter the illusion of Herald of Triumph.
Importantly, this turns Vestige of Soul on for the turn and gives Ian access to a Figment now, as a Herald has gone into his Soul during his action phase. So if he takes Erudition, it means that he's going to play his Arsenal card, and if it's a light blue in his hand, he can send a 4-cost Aura out.
Also, Majin isn't playing Balance, which is interesting. I don't know if he had it in the list.
We'll see what he's looking for for the year. It looks like he's considering a Figment of Erudition at the top there. War also comes out at times like this.
What do I grab here? Did we catch what's in his hand? We have 1 card in hand. We pitch that to flip swing, draw 2 cards. Theoretically play another either Herald or Aura. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I might just play the Erudition here as like a tempo play and just buy a shitload of space with it and kind of force the issue. I think you could be patient here with your Erudition, and that's perfectly fine. I think in this matchup, I like being pretty aggressive with it, though. Especially since we still have Rebirth. God, what's his name from the card guys? Is it Andrew, the one that topped Nationals? After seeing how he uses Erudition, I've been trying to use my Erudition more aggressively. And the way he does it is he'll just like really aggressively play his first Erudition a lot of the times and then just rebirth it back. I think this is like a pretty reasonable spot to do that. And you like kind of force the issue with Majin. Like, hey, I've got 3 permanents in play. Have it. The problem with doing that is you do potentially waste the Ponder token, depending on what our arsenal is. I think the only way to not waste it is our arsenal's like an aura, and we have pitch to play that aura. If we double aura, we don't waste anything, right? But I'm also pretty into filtering out a couple figments before playing the Erudition, so that way we have better draws. Protection's not that great here since we don't have a Merciful in play. Majin already blocked, so I'm not like that worried about my life total at the moment. I don't want to grab Ravages. I want to leave that in the deck. I think it's pretty important to leave Ravages in the deck just in case Majin tries fatiguing us. So that way we have a way to shoot ourselves with a Figment if we have to do some shenanigans with like a double Merciful thing. Rebirth doesn't really make sense. There's nothing to flip over yet with Judgment. I think War makes sense here. I think like War or Protection is probably like the 2 I would go for here, depending on what our arsenal card is.
That Figment of Erudition on the top there. War also comes out at times like this. Sometimes a Courage token can be impactful to create breakpoints, otherwise wouldn't be there, but it doesn't do anything about Ian's cards having Phantasm.
Figment of Erudition, typically that big power card allows the
Well, we still have the Triumph passive active.
In mind. Do you need to save that resource for an impactful scenario?
Worth pointing out as well, the Figment of Triumph's effect is active across the whole turn. So Ian's can, send another Herald out potentially after this, and Majin Bay would need a 7 power to pop it as well. A Spectral Shield generated here as Herald of a Figment of
Oh my god, so pretty.
I like this a lot.
It's not a key figment in this matchup, I feel.
No, so I find it can be depending on the scenarios we find ourselves in. So card advantage from Herald of Erudition and Soraya in this case, obviously fantastic, but not a priority when Great Library of Solana is already in play. You can have many tools to work with over the course of numerous turns. Ian, I think, has identified the way that I lose this game somehow is my opponent chaining off numerous 6 arcane effects, suddenly pushing my life too low, to a spot where I can't play around Stormstriders.
I've missed you, bud.
Protection, we flip this Angel over sometime later.
I was just thinking about you the other day, actually.
We're going to be nice and safe. More importantly, we're going to protect our other Archangels, including Victoria here, who's going to continue to show off poppers as the game continues to play.
Yeah, it looks like Victoria's trigger was not...
Okay, I don't hate playing it this way, where we flip the Triumph instead. I got 2 shields, so now if he shoots me for 6, like, we have the breakpoint covered. He doesn't, like, have some weird cheeky breakpointing. But we save the protection for later when it's more important. I like this.
Banish from Soul for Victoria's trigger here, so I don't think Majin Bay's attack action cards are getting -1.
How you been?
It's not impactful here against Majin Bay. So Scour comes out. This is a key card in the matchup. Scour is going to allow Majin
Let me
Bay
guess,
to
you're
clear
having another kid?
Reality. Also the Spectral Shields. Destroy X target aura tokens and or auras would cost 0. And then you deal damage to your opponent based on the number of auras cleared that way. This is the answer to the blue auras in this matchup, and also gets the Spectral Shields for free whilst sending some damage behind it.
This is a big find here for Margin. Clears away several parts of the
2
problem.
cards to clear 2 shields, an aura, and an angel. Pretty good.
Keep that all around
really
to kind of amplify that effect we saw last turn from the Figment. Poppers firmly back online for Margin, finding a way to stay in this.
Yeah, that is really well done. An elegant way to clear the board here. Now Inzang, of course, doesn't have the empowerment of that Pierce Reality to make this Wartune Herald even scarier. But Wartune's a 1-cost Herald, so it's a little bit easier for Footsteps to be paid into and still have a functional turn after it is inevitably popped.
If you told me you were having another kid, I would not have been surprised in the slightest.
Triumph playing.
Cadaver is selling an innocuously powerful card. For these Verdant's decks helps that decompose plan in this matchup very much a defensive tool when Herald.
Majin's actually pretty close to running out of poppers, I think.
Ian has a blue aura in his hand. I think it's a passing Mirage, so he's trying to figure out how his action point is supposed to be best used here.
I think Majin's gone through like 4 or 5 poppers, and I think he's got, what, 2 Fandels left, a Tilling left, 1 or 2 Burn Bears left. I think an Autumn's Touch left, but he might have blocked with both Autumn's Touches already.
So Herald of Triumph, Wartune Herald, and a passing Mirage in hand. Okay, we're pitching potentially for a high-cost aura. No. We are banishing to flip our... Okay, our Aegis now will come into play. This will allow Ian to create 2 Spectral Shields on attack if he banishes a card from his soul. But this is costly. It's costing Ian 2 cards in total from his soul. 1 to flip Aegis, another to activate that effect. So let's go again. This is not an attack that you can pop. It doesn't have Phantasm, so Ian can keep going, but probably it's just a passing Mirage Slam unless there's like
I need to get a
Herald
picture of all
Master he
those
wants to throw here.
spectral
This
shields
is
from him.
where Ian Zhang is pretty heavily rewarded for being patient with the Figment of Erudition. Chose to loom a different way, can now get more proactive on offense without losing that big power turn later on. That arsenal is going to be very impactful here, but Soraya going to be the biggest part of the toolkit.
What is
this
their
game.
arsenal
Ian's trying to
right
put Margin
now?
in a weird spot here. It's basically saying, unless you have a goal against Source, which you're unlikely to have, I either get to remove Phantasm from my first Herald, or I get to keep Aegis in play. You can only get rid of one of these. And I think Ian might not be in a sole position to keep generating Spectral Shields, but look, that's four life worth of Angel on the field here. Can also obviously attack into it, and now without a Halo of Illumination, Ian can't do that nasty trick where he tutors out a Figment of Ravages and blows up his own Angel to end Margin's turn.
Yeah, pretty.
I mean, I don't think that matters. Like, he's just attacking the Angel straight up. Like, end his turn. His turn of pass.
Disgusting when that happens. Does remove your action point if the attack doesn't resolve, much like Spectra. Unfortunately, no secondary follow-up here for Margin, so the passing Mirage is going to stick around, but no extra.
If it was ALS, Soraya earlier does seem like a little bit more tempting then. But he does have all the reds in his deck, so the ALS might not really be castable on that hand. He's seen, I think, 2 reds so far. No, he's seen more than 2 reds.
Spectral shields being pooped out by our Angel of Protection does mean the life total will remain.
Did he just say pooped out?
Spectra. Unfortunately, no secondary follow-up here for Margin, so the passing Mirage is going to stick around, but no extra Spectral shields being pooped out by our Angel of Protection does mean the life total will remain somewhat attackable.
Herald of Erudition, pretty good when it doesn't have Phantasm. That's really one of his only drawbacks. Now, Ian is likely signaling an Angelic Wrath here to Margin Bay by opening his turn with his play, because there is sufficient equipment to allow Margin to overcome the dominate aspect of this card. So a Rootbound Carapace is going to be thrown in front.
First decomposed of the game for Margin. It is worth getting yourself online as Verdant in this matchup if you can. Incidental arcane damage.
Oh my god. Imagine he got Wrathed right here.
For those Angels.
No reactions.
Goes on.
So Ian didn't have a Wrath to play here.
For Margin.
Gets a Ponder token, of course, as Mental Block is now prevented damage.
If he had a Wrath there, I think he'd just like pick up your cards.
Ian Zhang's gained life by flipping Herald, of course. That's Ward 4.
Okay, it was a War Tune in Arsenal.
Fortune Herald is going to earn a 2-card block as no more poppers remain. As a light of the leaves being sent away. Margin Bay has to play on the back foot here. There's still cleaning up to do, and there's still the little issue of Great Library of Solana.
This Ponder token doesn't really do anything, which is nice. Oh, he has a Scar.
Scar for a Scar, clearing away this passing Mirage as well. Love to see this continue.
I think this is going about as good as Margin could have hoped. He's cleared the board of everything but the library and gotten rid of protection from the deck. Like, I think this is going pretty reasonable. And he's only burned 1 piece of armor. Running out of poppers, though, which is kind of tough. But
to do this.
I don't...
For now,
this feels like a winnable game.
In check.
And we're through the Halo.
That Halo of Illumination in play can't just go and get that Figment of Erudition whenever he wants to flip Soraya. He needs to get a Herald into Soul somehow. With passing Mirage having cleared, that gets trickier. This is one way of doing it, though. Playing out a Merciful Retribution in response to a popper means that Ian Zhang is going to be able to put the War Tune Herald in his Soul and deal a point of arcane damage to Margin Bay when it gets popped.
So this doesn't. Players here just conferring, when do I take the point of arcane damage? Does my Fiendo's Fighting Spirit trigger to gain me a life if I'm 1 behind on arcane? I do not believe it does, but of course this kind of interaction very much worth checking with a judge.
Ian gets to sort it, right? Because I guess it's not a win defense trigger, right? I don't know if this all happens at the same time. This weirdly might not all happen at the same time, even though it's like technically all happening when it's defending. Just because like Phantasm might be in like a weird spot of defending. I don't actually know.
Because you're the active player, you should be able to, but let's double check.
That's going in the wrong spot.
Okay. So players might end up calling a judge here. Looks like Fortune has been put in Graveyard instead. Okay, so we'll wait. I think there was a conversation about the timing of the Merciful Retribution.
Taken life not regained from Findle's Fighting Spirit. That trigger does happen on defense, and so does not work the way the Margin would have hoped.
Yeah, obviously Phantasm sort of doesn't really allow resolution effects on that chain link to occur. So Figment of War is brought out here by Ian Zhang. Gets him a courage token, so allows him to, again, like find a potentially powerful breakpoint to guarantee a Herald hit. It's also a big part of the late game strategy for the Prism player. It flips into Bologna, who can put counters on all Angels in play at the cost of a Soul. Which is
something else to think about from Majin's side right now is this is the second Merciful getting burned from the deck. So now Ian can't do like run away with Spectral Shields with like a double Genesis or something like that, and do a double Merciful shoot his opponent type of thing. if it gets to like some weird grindy spot, because I think Majin is maybe playing towards trying to fatigue him at this point because of how the game went. So getting the second Merciful out of the way is kind of a big deal. Hey, Smurf. Yeah, Ian had some kind of awkward draws after he built up the board. He had like a bunch of blues, so he couldn't draw off of library. And then just like didn't find
but I mean,
board state cards.
This Merciful Retribution is definitely a problem. He still takes a ping of arcane damage upon clearing, but it's got to go.
Very telling of the approach here for Margin. Finally gets allowed the leaves back into the bottom of the deck for this endgame scenario we're quickly approaching. Did find blue Fruit of the Forest from that mental block last turn. Not a premium Arsenal target, but a pretty spectacular way to continue attacking these auras.
There is a Angelic Wrath in the hand here. Now this Herald of Erudition gets Courage token, so 6 Dominate is relevant, but it still has Phantasm.
That's not the block of a man that has a popper in his hand. If I'm Ian in this position, my opponent not just like going whoop-bam, windmill slamming a popper on the table, I'm like, oh, I'm lit right now. I'm gonna shit all over him with this wrath.
Martin Bay really wants to have a popper this turn, and
oh, he does.
I've got bad news for you.
Oh, we do see Cadaverous tilling there as a 6,
yep.
But 6s are far from safe in the majority of these scenarios.
Safe now because it's open deck list and there's no.
Yeah, why isn't he just slamming the popper? What am I missing? Wait. What am I missing? Chat, am I missing something right now? That's a tilling, right? That's a red tilling? Also, what is this gloves block with no defense reaction? Or who cares? Who cares if this is only damage? I don't think your path to victory at this point is attacking Ian for 8 with a tilling. Like, I don't think that matters at all. I think you're trying to fatigue Ian at this point. Or Ian kind of comes in soft on a turn and you kind of pivot off of that, but sure, that's the only thing that really makes sense. But even then, like, what is this block? I'm confused. I would rather throw 8 and let my opponent pot of greed. Huh?
6,
yep.
But 6
for Ian Zung, and he doesn't have his Halo of Illumination in play.
Oh, he does have a D-React. I didn't see that.
Stonewall Gauntlet will reduce the power of this attack, of course, and get in front of Sink below.
This is still incredibly suspicious. Like, surely it's blocked with the popper because you don't want to get blown out by Wrath here. Like, this is just asking to lose the game. You've seen, I think, 1 Wrath all game. No, 2 Wraths. Because there's 1 in Soul from the Genesis really early on, I think. And then I think he played a Wrath. So there's like 1 floating around in the deck. And we don't know where it is. It's just like, why gamble? I can understand gambling on Wrath on like not an Erudition. It's like, why are we gambling on something that might win the game on its own?
The power of this attack, of course.
Was the Erudition from Arsenal?
Scenario we're quickly approaching.
Okay, you could argue here that maybe it's fine because Ian's on a 6-card hand. And from Majin's POV, you're like, okay, a lot of the auras that are yellow are gone from the deck at this point. What the fuck is Ian gonna do on an 8-card hand? Like, I don't believe that you can actually convert all those cards on offense. I don't believe you. I think that's kind of unreasonable. Like, in that situation that he has a Wrath, I'm pretty sure Ian pretty easily converts his whole hand just by going Herald, Wrath, Angel, Herald, Arsenal, pass. So I don't think that would make sense.
Use the power of this attack, of course, and get in front of Sink below. So Martin Bay, it's open deck, so he would know that there's no reprimand here, but he does not want to give up the tilling. wants potentially to be able to decompose here properly.
I actually really
Either
like Reprimand in
decompose
this
or be able
matchup.
to answer the second Herald. Does get punished for that choice by this Angelic Wrath, unfortunately.
That really hurts. Oh, Scott, that is a blowout. Ian's really trying to line up his Heralds of Erudition with these Angelic Wraths that will be able to give your Heralds +3. It feels like a fragile card. It doesn't block, and also when Phantasm gets involved, that card is blanked. It is absolutely dead. But in this case, it's allowed Ian to do a bunch of things. First of all, put Herald of Erudition in his soul, allowing him to go in search of...
I think the one annoying thing here is from Ian's POV, I like actually really want to get Erudition Figment in play, but it's pretty unlikely that we can actually use all of our cards, so we probably waste the Ponder token. But I think if we have a yellow aura in our hand, I'm pretty down to grab Erudition just for the Ponder token, and I just want to make sure I have it in play for later. Reprimand's fine once you have Library out, but I don't love it before then. I love it before then. I think it's really good in this matchup. They just like block with a popper, and then you Reprimand, and you just get online. I think it's really good. I was testing it. It was performing pretty well.
And while it may appear like that line was risky from
it doesn't perform well though against Lucas, because you attack, they pop, you Reprimand, and then he burn bears, and then you crash out.
Margin, I think this is the kind of matchup where you need to take risks to find success. Understands this Herald is unlikely to be the end of the turn. Stonewall Gauntlet's primed to find value in that position. I don't mind taking the risk at all.
The Figment of Judgment here is a little bit cheeky. It is actually relevant in this.
I think if they dereact, it's fine. Like, it's gonna happen. You're gonna get dereacted, but if you think of it this way, you're trading down. Like, I'm getting 2 for 1 normally, right? If I Reprimand and then they dereact, I'm now getting 2 for 3'd. And I think getting 2 for 3'd is better for me than getting 2 for 1'd. Just like card economy wise. It's not ideal. I do not want these things to happen, but I think you have enough things in the matchup happen that like swing the game, that just like kind of rolling the dice on, I just need some percentage of these things to go my way, and if they do, I kind of snowball the game. So I'm essentially giving myself more opportunities to roll the dice on something going my way, because if any one of them happen, then I just kind of run away with things.
Matchup as it turns a card in Banish face down. So you can somewhat,
it's like rolling scab skins, but you can't roll a 1.
To the point where like you keep them off decompose, but it might slow them down for a turn. It can be relevant. Outside of that is a Figment that can flip to an Angel, which is what Ian is mostly looking for here. Angelic Attendant, one of the newest cards to enter these Prism lists. This one is really impressive for me. You play it, you awaken a Figment you control, and then you put that card into...
I'm gonna be honest, I don't actually cast Attendant that much. I thought I was gonna cast Attendant way more than I actually did.
On a single turn.
Not something the Prism deck could do before the introduction of Angelic Attendant. And you see the power of doing that right now. At the moment, there is a whole 10 points of ward in play for Ian Zhang. Offers a pretty staunch offense and defense simultaneously as Bologna.
We are actually activating Bologna here.
Big fan of this. I think Ian understands the assignment now. This has been...
Is this still the Erudition turn? I got distracted talking about other shit. It is. So he still has 4 cards in hand. It's like probably fine, but I'm like a little suspicious playing it this way. Wait, no, this is just wrong, right? I don't think Ian was supposed to play it this way. No, this is wrong. Okay, so by playing it this way, flipping both Angels immediately, and then swinging War, I think we left ourselves like a little bit open to Majin cracking Striders to kill our War in the layer step before it triggers. We're probably like not that upset if that happens on Ian's side, but I don't think we're supposed to flip. Oh no, we have to flip both to get the counter. We still have Rebirth, Ravages, and Erudition left in the deck. He's at 21. We're going to go to 2 soul. We're going to go to 3 soul at the end of the turn. It's probably fine. And then if he cracks Striders, he keeps a 1-card hand. We keep our Judgment and 2 shields. Yeah, it's probably fine. Yeah, never mind. I'm wrong.
And adds it to the award in play for Ian Zhang. Offers a pretty staunch offense and defense simultaneously as Bologna.
We are actually activating Bologna here.
Big fan of this. I think Ian understands the assignment now. This has been a game of control from Margin. Has been very regimented.
This is such a heads-up play if he's expecting there to be poppers in the hand for Margin Bay, because he gets to come in with his Archangel of Judgment for 5.
We're getting so punished for not blocking with that popper. My God.
Be met with some kind of popper. If that's what he's playing around, there's unbelievably heads up. And amongst all of this, he's still not going for the big shock and all blowout wombo combo prism play. He's just playing efficiently, trying to keep waving auras in front of Margin Bay, some catnip while he develops something else in the background. It is going to be a Herald of Protection anyway, but still getting counters on those agents matters. Now with Margin Bay at 19, this damage is important. And of course, Phantasmal Footsteps pitched into here. Action point regained.
Here's more damage.
Yep, worth knowing Yellow will do the job there because of Vestige of Soul, so we will facilitate Phantasmal Footsteps and a swing from an Angel off of just a yellow.
What's really important here is, that... Okay, yeah, he's able to bookend this with a Herald. Yeah, there's so much going on in this turn for Ian Zhang. Margin Bay, like, his grip of cards was actually pretty reasonable to answer what the Prism does. He makes a very reasonable decision.
Bro, imagine we Fearless him here. I think Majin just has to quit and go play Runeterra, or whatever the new league card game is if he gets Fearless here, right? Just like send him straight to hell. Oh my God. I was so close to putting Fearless in my Prism deck that I ended up not bringing. I just kept having so many spots where Fearless went crazy. I think Fearless is probably better than in Prism than it is in Gravy. Because the thing is, when it happens from Gravy, it's like really good. When it happens for Prism, I think the game ends instantly.
Again, I like that risk. I think Margin understands that to win this matchup, you've got to get a bit lucky. You've got to use those.
Also, I'm going to keep it a buck. I legitimately think Margin threw both these games in the trash. Riftbound? Thanks. I think he's like still really far behind in both of these games, and he's playing pretty narrow margins. But like, I'm very confused by a number of the plays that he made. $14 value. So you, I don't think. How can you say it's 14 value? The value of the Fearless is the damage that the Angel would have taken. So 4. So you just like gain 4. So you're basically trading the Fearless for the 4 that they did. If it's Shariah, sure. 100% if it's Shariah. I was just thinking kind of in a vacuum of like doing it on a Figment that is good. Because I would equate your average Figment swing to be like 5 or 6. But even then, it's not, you still have to pitch a card to do that. So now it's a second card being added to that equation. I think it's less of a math thing. For Shariah, it's a math thing because you get 2 raw cards. I think it's less of a math thing and more of a, if your opponent is in a situation that their turn is attack an Angel for 4, and that's all they're doing, and you keep it around, it usually snowballs the game because they're playing in such a position where the game is now just about playing whack-a-mole. And if they fail to whack-a-mole once, everything spirals out of control.
In weird corner cases, I like holding onto the popper for the
Yeah, like I'm so confused by the way Majin played. Like he didn't break down his equipment when it was very clear his opponent was going to present lethal in the next turn. Like, I don't even think Ian did anything crazy on that turn, right? Didn't Ian just present 13 damage? I'm going to go back to that. What's our timestamp right now is 1:30:37. Now, 100%, like, you know, it's stream, long tournament. We all don't play perfect. Not harping on him for that. I'm just here to talk about the decision making, right? 13. Like, I think it's pretty reasonable to expect your Marlin opponent to present 13 damage, especially when they're going into the turn with an arsenal. And I'm pretty sure he had he had Tunic up at the start also. It's like, I think 13 is like, yeah, okay, that's an amount that I should expect to see in the matchup, right? Because even without the Art of War, it could have just been like a 0 for 3 pump, and it would have been the same thing. Like, realistically, you only saw 1 pump, right? Like, this is for 2, this is for 1. Their powers combined is a normal pump. So, like, surely we break down at least the grasp here so we can make sure that we don't just, like, die straight up. And the not shackling on turn 1. I'm very confused by that one. Uh, 10, 30, 37.
Clearing away these angels. Unfortunately, was punished for it by that angelic wrath. The plan continues. Siren's a safe harbor. Going to remove one of those angels here. We're going to see pretty hefty amounts of pressure this turn. Full 5-card hand to work with for Ian thanks to that great library, and a 5-attack angel already in play.
Erudition might be the opener. No, instead into pitch because, again, no way to remove Phantasm, and there's also no way to force it over.
You're booing us.
Equipment still available, of course, for Margin. Does make the Erudition more of a late-game tool.
Fortune Herald as a very cost-effective attack here. It's one of the only heralds to
What do we need to, from Margin's POV, what do we need to happen to win this game? Like, Ian doesn't draw a yellow, so that way he doesn't have go again on a turn. I think that's, like, our only out at this point. Because he still has the Shariah in the deck. He still has a Merciful and a Genesis, at least. He still has his ALSs. We haven't turned on our hero power. I think we've decomposed once all game. Yeah, I think we just need, like, something horrendously wrong to happen on Ian's side to still win this game. I don't see any out, because we're basically stuck in a blocking pattern for the rest of the game because it's just too much damage being presented on every turn.
That is a 1 cost. To offer yellow, you can both deploy it and pay for Phantasmal Footsteps. It really does matter when many of your heralds cost 2 and you want to be pitching yellows regularly. It can get quite expensive.
Passing the Merlium Tree, finding a embodiment here for future defense. Shot from the Storm, going to cover up the rest of this herald pretty profitably.
What is the next move here for Ian? More heralds in hand, an attendant, but no figment to flip.
Why did
Tough
he
to
break
convert that card
chain?
into its minimum 4 value. 4 implied value, at least.
Worth noting here, Margin yet to be online. Has only managed to decompose on defense with Rootbound Carapace throughout the course of the game. And therefore, that vulnerability not active yet is definitely an important part of picking off those Spectral Shields and ultimately Angels later on. For now,
Themis also threatening to further interfere with his play.
There's, like, no reason to break chain here. We just, like, gave him an extra Earth card. I don't think it matters because he has a million Earth cards, but
To try and decompose.
mostly where we were going there, yeah.
Whatever.
Big factor of this with Themis. You can just continue turning Earth cards face down, and clearly Ian valuing that by emptying out the soul, using that finite resource to keep Margin further and further away from incidental arcane damage.
And this is the kind of play you couldn't really opt towards before Angelic Attendant. The fact that Ian is able to be soul positive and flip an angel at the same time, without that he wouldn't have had the soul left over to be able to do this. It really lets you push your soul that much further as a Prism player, especially in matchups where your soul's being denied by a lot of Phantasm poppers.
Embodiment of Earth trigger, I believe Ian looking at a hand that contains Arclight Sentinel and Passing Mirage.
Yeah, so no interest in responding.
okay, we got our Arclight.
Arclight Sentinel.
Not that we really need it, but
blank your opponent's turn.
No reason to blink, of course. Ian just has full control in the scenario. No cards in hand for Margin. No punish for going into your own turn.
It's very
I think we just, like,
especially
keep putting shit in Margin's mouth.
Before she sort of tore you to shreds, you respond to that embodiment trigger and play your ice card from Arsenal.
It's definitely a unique scenario to remind my Briar opponent of their embodiment trigger because it was a benefit to me as an Icelander player. So, for sure, both players there. Just confirming with the judge exactly where they are, making sure everything's above board.
Yeah, we just, like, keep punching Margin at this point until something connects.
A base 6 or more, Northern Lightning Strike. And in comes Themis again.
And we don't even have to do anything. Like, from this point on, like, we can just go Herald, Angel, Herald, and we just passively win this game.
Advantages. Margin Bay is not decomposing. This still represents a very large amount of damage. This is starting to become a little bit too much for Margin Bay to deal with. When you find these hands that are empty of poppers, this one isn't, but Margin Bay just wants to play the game. He wants to send some attacks. Our US World Championship has played minimum Flesh and Blood over these last couple of games.
Yeah. And I think this is a very
free Ponder token?
Understands that, hey, I do actually have to win this game eventually. I have to clear these Angels somewhat proactively if I want to get them off the board, or Themis is just going to continue to remove my life total when I want to save my cards to block your Heralds. And that's not an ultimate game plan there either, because inevitably you will be fatigued if you keep dedicating 2 cards over and over again to every Herald that comes. And so eventually you have to make a stand. Unfortunately, it's a less than optimal one with only 3 life to work with, but we cannot allow the Angel to continue to take the life total away. More importantly, we do get to decompose by attacking the allies, so there are some Earth cards back in the Banished Zone.
It is rirough for Margin Bay here. There's an attendant that's going to be pitched. Not even used to flip this Figment edition.
No.
Recalls that. I can't tell
Bam! See what I mean? When I said it earlier, that was not the block of someone that had a popper in their hand. Literally, Windmill slams the popper on the table when he has it.
Has had a meaningful impact on his turn.
Safe to say that Flying Spirit had some Flying Spirit with the speed it hit the table.
And we need more of a comeback kid right now.
Oh, certainly wouldn't hurt.
Ian immediately pays into the Phantasmal Footsteps to recover his action point. Okay, I didn't want to look at your hand anyway.
I didn't want my opponent to reach for Figment of Erudition, but we're both going to be unhappy about where we find ourselves. Soraya finally awakened for Ian Zhang here. Will come on in swinging, trigger that ability one more time.
The eyebrows are at risk of disappearing.
May I?
I can't do a damn thing about it.
Well, there was worlds you could do something about it here. Stormstriders in response to the Soraya could theoretically have cleared the Angel away before that was cast. Hence the pause there.
Well, the thing with that is, if he wants to send a spell at Ian's face, he has the Spectral Shields plus AB. So to send a big spell at the Erudition, it's pretty unreasonable that he has a hand that does that. Like, we already made him block, so he'd have to have a very specific hand to do that. So I think doing it after he blocked kind of makes sense. But I also think it could have made sense to just be patient with us and just keep smushing his face with Heralds.
Soraya moved gently towards those Stormstriders. Margin's eyebrows definitely suggested that that was not going to be happening this time around.
This is not a hand that kills, that does much to that. Okay, so here it is. Stormstriders has to be used in response. We're going to be sending Arcane Twining at Ian Zhang here and the Waning Moon, but Margin Bay just handling it up a little bit. I think he might have shot himself with his own Waning Moon to put himself out of his misery. It's Ian Zhang on Prism, Awakener of Soul, emerges from a...
Congratulations, Ian. Masterclass game of Prism. I think this is legitimately the first time that I've ever watched him play Prism. Let's quickly look at the deck list, see what stands out. I don't think I want to listen to them talk about the deck lists again. What is this matchup? Oh, it's the Verdance Mirror. This is with Jacob. He was with us on stream last weekend. If I remember correctly, when we were talking about it last week, Jacob had a deck building edge in the mirror, so Max didn't really want to play the mirror, so I think they ended up doing LL twice, if I remember correctly. I think it was like he had more pots or something like that. I don't quite remember. Let's see, we got Evergreen. This round's on me. That's pretty interesting. 1 potion. No, he's got all the potions. I don't remember what the reason was anymore. If only Jacob was here this time. They both have all the potions. Okay, let's just jump into the game.
In this matchup, looks like he has chosen to go first, Ponkage.
The other big thing, which we didn't actually get to in the deck list, is the weapons choice, Brian. Jacob Allen has Surgent Aethertide, and Maximilian Klein does not. Max Klein is going to be presenting Waning Moon for this match.
Did we see Surgent in the deck list a second ago? Oh, that was the reason. Okay.
Matchup, and that is have the amp go on your Surgeon Aethertide, and then you have a spell follow-up afterwards. You get to double dip on the amp, effectively. It makes his endgame way stronger than Maximilian Klein. Also, throughout the game, just getting opportunities where you Surgeon Aethertide to bait your opponent into pitching for AB, and then sending a physical attack at them is a very strong play pattern that Jacob has access to.
Oh, having Punkage on the Wizard game is just...
Maximilian Klein, as we mentioned, starting things off
just
with
perfect.
A healing potion here, gets to follow up with...
Oh, we shooting ourselves?
Setting up
oh!
As well, should we want to.
Oh, the old technology, the Icelander technology for the mirror.
And get that resource rolling.
It's going to Arsenal that plow under Waning Moon yourself, classic play pattern that Icelander players are super familiar with. Used to do this all the time. Wizard mirrors, it's quite a bit of shooting yourself, so to speak.
And Jacob Allen looking to get things rolling as well, gaining a couple life off of a double life draw, as well as an Arcane Twinning discard to fully refresh.
Which also means he now has 2 Earth cards in his graveyard, so he can decompose immediately if he draws a card that allows him to do so, say something like a Cadaverous Tilling. Now, is all the time.
Did he mean to get a counter on his thing?
Mirrors, it's quite a
Now back to Jacob Allen. Has picked up some potions of his own, also looking at burn spells available, Burn Bear in particular.
Because he pitched.
Rampant growth life here.
And pitching it this early means that he will be the first to get back around to his combo. An interesting evolution of the Verdance matchup these days is that you don't necessarily need to reach second cycle to do your combo. First cycle, just a few potions, maybe 1 or 2 rapid can absolutely still seal the game for you because it puts your opponent into the strategy range. A combo isn't about killing your opponent, it's about just holding a gun to the head and saying you cannot move because you're on strategy range. Every attack I send you have to fully block and you can't tap out on your turn either.
Surgent Aethertide activation is covered up by the mental block.
Pitching a
Burn Bear
tree
follow-up here from Jacob Allen. Still a floating bit of prevention there from the block, and we're going to have some AB from Max Klein as well, but a little bit of damage leaking through to Max Klein. Meanwhile, turn passes back to him. Just going to go ahead and say,
forgot to tick up his
chest.
chest.
Goes to 41. Posturing a little bit in these early turns are these players.
Slow, methodical.
Am I misremembering what the chest does? Okay, I can't fucking read that. To February. The first time it prevents arcane damage each turn and has less than 4 counters, you may put an energy counter on it. Twin. Oh, he just discarded the twin to amp. He didn't shoot anyone with it. Okay. So Jacob shouldn't have a counter on his chest because he just discarded the twin. But Max definitely should have another counter on his thing, right?
From Max Klein as well, but a little bit of damage leaking through.
Methodical. That's how these Wizard Mirrors are, especially in the early game. For now, both players setting up their board state pieces, setting up their combo, setting up the pitch deck a little bit. Eventually, we're going to see fireworks fly. It feels very Wizard-like. Both players just preparing this massive spell, invoking it for a massive finish at the end, but for now, just getting a little bit of life.
Give me your energy, we're invoking it!
Life total's going the wrong way here, Ponkage. Jacob Allen up to 45 on the back of those 3 instances of life gain. More Earth cards headed to the bin, so the Decompose train is rolling. Surgent Aethertide activation here, pointed the way of Max Klein. We'll think about his AB options.
And once again, this is the advantage of Surgent Aethertide. Are you supposed to respect this? Are you supposed to prevent this damage?
Is this Max's
or is that going to be a physical attack? Because if there's a physical
second
attack,
or third
defense, well, that can be quite
Pro Tour World's top 8?
Klein is going to go ahead and AB.
Because I know he topped the heavy hitters one.
Just a healing potion filed up by a mental block discard and pass the turn over. So keeping the deck churning, making sure not to IP, moving back quickly to that rampant growth. Burn Bear here from Klein.
I want to point out the pitch over here for Maximilian Klein. Now, getting to the first hand of second cycle typically does happen in this matchup where the combo happens, and that Light Up the Leaves, everyone, does have a different lineup.
It's also a tree right before that, so it's going to be 9 arcane on that turn.
Text on it as well. You can discard that alongside the Earth card that's right next to prevent 6 arcane damage from a source, and you can do that on top of A being that source as well. That can prevent quite a lot of damage from a Surgent Aethertide to stymie the combo from Jacob Allen should we get to that point.
Allen's going to have to respect that. Certainly want to track your opponent's pitch deck carefully in this matchup. Understand where you are in the cycle, where you are in the gameplay flow. Thus far, we're not in the doing damage phase of the gameplay flow. Punkage, 41 to 43 is the life totals, but here's the first big salvo from Jacob Allen. As we mentioned, able to go ahead and discard those Earth cards early, and now fires off the Felling of the Crown.
Which is only coming for 4 right now because this is the first decompose. Another sticking point in this matchup is that I think it is unlikely that these players have sided in Rootbound Carapace in this matchup, which is typically one of the best first decomposers. So that when your Felling comes in for 8. Risky card to include in this matchup though because of the amount of arcane that's being flown around on either side. If you're stuck with a Rootbound Carapace and your opponent sends a Burn Bear at you, you don't really like that feeling. So oftentimes you'll see a Felling just come in for 4. The opponent, if neither side has found the Tilling or the Plow Under, or in this case, Plow Under for 2 first, before the Felling for 8.
Yeah, Klein was able to block.
Just throwing wet noodles at each other.
Get it into the bin and get this first decompose going. Also going to be able to arsenal a Felling of the Crown here is Max Klein. So should he find a couple more Earth cards to go.
Ooh, and then we're throwing a Felling.
Be able to go ahead and juice up that Felling.
Is that E-Strike into Felling?
That big powered mode. Of course, a Plow Under is going to hit the bin here as well. So just needs to find one more Earth card to get a clean decompose.
Both players still
have to give up a pot for it though.
Early turn cycles,
maybe we just play the pot.
On the other side, especially because of
Arsenal the Felling.
Klein did find another Earth card to defend with here. It's a Felling, somewhat unfortunately.
Yeah, so I think he's still missing enough cards in the graveyard to decompose either Felling.
Of course, that mental block not fulfilling that clause, just a block card.
Does have an E-Strike in his hand. Could go ahead and bottom the Felling for second cycle. Oh, looks like the E-Strike's going to be blocked with. Might just send the Felling, it looks like. I believe he's lacking an Earth card to decompose either one of his Fellings.
Second potion set up here for Jacob Allen. Also arsenals his own Felling of the Crown. I
Some
he's
Earth
set up ready
cards.
to go, though, and picked up a handful of Earth cards here as well. What does Klein want to do on this particular cycle? Interesting little squeeze he's facing right now.
He does have a Scar for a Scar, which does have Go again, because he is lower life than the opponent.
I'm surprised people weren't on
Fellings
Scars sooner than
Can't
this.
turn them on, and they will only be coming in for 4. Can't decompose either. Almost have to wonder, maybe he was expecting Jacob Allen to send a little bit more his way and wanted to block a little bit more, because at this point with this hand, I think he'd be much happier if he had left his E-Strike in his hand to come in for 7, instead of what's looking like just a 4 damage follow-up off of a Felling that doesn't even decompose. I think Maximilian Klein got a little bit juiced by that E-Strike Go again from Jacob Allen. I think was saving his blue for like a follow-up arcane damage spell. That's why he blocked with the E-Strike instead. But then Jacob Allen just went Healing Potion, and now it's 2-card 4.
Yeah, just an empty Felling here from Max Klein. And I feel like this is the first big win of this match going the way of Jacob Allen.
I mean, Verdance has some.
I mean, getting a
but
second potion into play is a
looks like one of the
pretty
most
big
powerful
win.
decks in CC, and sometimes that kind of just doesn't do much until she's online.
We know she makes up for it in spades when she does do her thing. Part of getting to that point is the setup. Double Healing Potion is set up on the side of Jacob Allen.
Are we just going to activate Stick here?
Just takes the turn back here.
And we're just chipping on either side for these early turn cycles as both players set up their board state. Haven't seen the Child of Millennium Tree yet. That's another one of those cards that will force quite a bit of damage through, and that can change the size of the combo you need to overcome your Verdance opponent. Often, these wizard combos need to be very aware of life thresholds. If your opponent's at 40, then sure, maybe you need the 4 potions and 2 rampant growths. But if you've been leaking damage from Fellings, leaking damage from Child of Millennium Trees, 3 potions could be enough. If they're in their 20s, 3 potions, a single rampant, and they're in their 10s, and now they just can't move because you send a physical, they have to block it.
And now he has a Felling
Speaking
and
of
a
leaking
Plow
damage,
next to each other on the bottom of the deck.
Test again with the Surgent Aethertide. Chose to take the damage. Jacob Allen, though, had the perfect follow-up in the form of Light Up the Leaves. Now buffed up
Lots
to
of
7
disruption.
big arcane damage, and we saw a Rise Smile creep in from Max Klein. It's that squeeze you spoke about, Ponkage. Do you go ahead and invest into preventing that ping when it could just be an attack follow-up? Max Klein made the opposite read this time and gets zapped a little bit on the back of this Light Up the Leaves.
And that is, once again, the reason why Surgeon Aethertide is such a massive advantage. We spoke about the deck list, Brian, how Maximum Fly's list with the higher density of attacks gives them a bit of an advantage in this matchup. I think the Surgeon Aethertide far outweighs that advantage. I mean, we saw that happen that turn cycle as well. We're going to see that continue to happen this game, and that's not even to mention what that means for Jacob Allen's combo.
Klein is able, though, to respond. Did effectively prevent the damage on the back of that Light Up the Leaves, as well as some AB, and now fires off a Felling of the Crown. Juiced mode here, coming in for a big 8.
Now, I'm not sure if we missed something here, Brian, but I think that might be the second time Maximum Klein has missed his Alluvian Constellus trigger. I'm pretty sure he's AB1 a couple times. That previous turn cycle, he definitely pitched that E-Strike to AB an extra 1 on the left.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate.
Didn't take up his Constellus, though. Perhaps
He's down like 2
a little bit
value.
of a crack in the demeanor for Max Klein as he, in his feature match area, facing down his lose and out of World's Top 8.
We often see Max Klein look unflappable in the feature match area. Held his composure all through. That Trahey game was just such an epic game. I feel bad taking away from the moment of this World Championship, but every time Max Klein and Arthur Trahey enter our feature match area again for the rest of their lives, surely that match will be mentioned. The most epic match in the history of Flesh and Blood. Up till now, Ponkage, the way this top 8 is shaping up, maybe we will eclipse it. Cadaverous Tilling coming in here from Jacob Allen. More decomposing, more damage, importantly. Jacob Allen has slightly fallen behind on the life total, but we know, Ponkage, this is kind of irrelevant until it isn't, and then big bolts of damage start flying around the arena.
I believe he also still has his Felling parked in his arsenal. And this is the last Felling coming out from Maximilian Klein. He sent 1 for 4 decompose. The second one, though, he just sent for 4 vanilla, empty Felling. And now this is the last one. So Jacob Allen knows he doesn't need to worry about this card anymore for the rest of this game.
All right, see chat. I've talked about this so many times. When your opponent plays a Felling, just fucking block it. If the Verdance players are just blocking the Fellings, they know what's up. They know that's the only fucking card that matters. Just block it.
Also, ended up IPing his Rampant Growth live. And this is what we were talking about. You don't need to go for a massive, massive combo. I think Jacob Allen just wants to try and do a double Rampant turn. Just holding that until he finds a second Rampant and just go off with 2, maybe the third potion refines it as well.
Yeah, passes on it again. Picked up, looks like a channel, the Millennium Tree here. Did Jacob Allen. Gonna have to see what Max offers.
I'm surprised he didn't just block it, or bottom
And
the
Child of
Rampant.
Tree is the other aspect of why Surgeon Aethertide is so strong in the mirror. Once you get a tree down and you send an Aethertide for 4, your opponent has to respect it. And it also means you can always get value from the Millennium Tree. On the following turn, you're not worried, oh, will I draw a non-attack so that, or a spell so I can get value from the amp? You always have a Surgeon Aethertide, even if your whole hand is attacks. You can still get the amp 3 effect and just Aethertide into an attack afterwards, but your opponent will have to AB on the Aethertide just in case you have an arcane damage spell.
So Felling of the Crowns might be done for Max Klein, but still has Plow Unders to work with and gets a juicy arsenal target here. This go around, we started things off on the turn with the Fruits of the Forest, but Verdance is online now, so it came with a ping as well. And this just claims a couple of defensive cards from Jacob Allen here.
And that's the
Yeah, who knew 3 go again on your opponent's turn is good?
Feels like Jacob is starting to shift a bit here, though. in the game plan. Surgent Aether Tide coming down. Maybe this means we're ready to go ahead and park that Rampant Growth Life and try and set up that mini combo you've been talking about, Punkage.
And we've seen 2 Plow Unders for Maximilian Klein already. That was the first one that came in for 2. And this
Yeah,
is
the question is how big is he going to go in the
Not really
combo?
pitch
Is he
one
just
either,
going to go
but
for like
have
the
Jacob
second
Allen
he
see that as
sees
open.
anything reasonable
This
for
is
the
the combo
combo, he just
on
goes
3
for it?
players already, can park
Or is he
the
gonna
second
wait
one
to set
on
up
perhaps
more?
quite safely and just leave it there the rest of the game until he's ready to pop off?
Disruption used very early on the part of Maximilian Klein. And when you know there's a big combo coming down the pipe at some point in the game, that can be a scary problem.
Yeah, that's a big advantage. Like Jacob still has like a ton of his disruption left in the deck because he just keeps bottoming it, either by pitching it or bottoming it to his opponent's fellings and shit. Does Max have any left? No fellings. That might be all of his plows. So like from Jacob's side, you get to just kind of set up with impunity now. You know, everything else at this point is just going to be vanilla damage.
Position.
What's funny though for Jacob Allen's side is that this kind of bricks his own Plow Unders as well. If you just park your Rampant Growth Life in your arsenal, you can't Plow under your opponent either because then your own Rampant Growth Life just goes to the bottom as well. So a little bit of interesting parallelism going on there.
Yeah, we did see Jacob defend with a Plow Under on an earlier turn, I believe.
And he definitely pitched one for his Millennium Tree as well, the earlier one.
So maybe just thinking it's so long until those cards come back around, he can go afford to set up Arsenal at this stage of the game.
Look at Max's face. He's like, ugh. He's like, I don't like any of this.
Coming around to them. I expect the combo to happen either in first cycle or first hand or second cycle.
I've never seen him make that face before.
I drew that hand, crowned away a Burn Bear, drew another Burn Bear yesterday.
Even top 8 competitors can still lament their bad luck earlier on in the tournament, Punkage.
Many a Verdance player knows the feeling of drawing all reds with a Burn Bear and providencing into yet another red. I mean, we saw it happen to Marcin in his top 8 just now. His opening hand against a Prism was one of the worst Verdance hands I've ever seen.
Klein does have killing again, and there you see triple red. Good read from Jacob Allen. Just understands exactly what Max is working with, and we also do not have a decomposed.
He's got root bounds.
Not good math, Punkage.
Those are
Oh, they both have
right there,
root
but
bounds.
Before she gets a combo online, this is sometimes what this deck does. This Earth Wizard that is being a little bit of a bane of the CC format, sometimes though just stumbles so incredibly hard.
Allen, though, takes the opportunity to go ahead and decompose off that root-bound Carapace, Punkage. You mentioned not sure if those were going to be in the deck, but they were, and they got that really important last Earth card into the bin for Jacob Allen. Now online with Verdance, E-Strike for 7.
I'm curious whether Ruban Carapace was brought in because deck lists are open. And Jacob Allen knows that Max Klein is sporting these 7 power attacks, and so he'll have more opportunities to Ruban Carapace. As I say that though, Max Klein has brought his own Ruban Carapaces anyway.
Yeah, players just saying that decompose is too valuable. It doesn't really matter what the texture of these decks are. You need to have access to it. Here is that Verdance specialization, going to ping 3 times, 3 instances of arcane damage headed the way of Jacob Allen. I just want to say, Punkage, I cannot believe this has become the default for representing Verdance pings. What have you people done with this beautiful, beloved hero? You have made it into something horrible and terrible. I will never forgive you, Flesh and Blood community. I also love you.
Yeah, you put the bannings in Silver Age in our hands, so you know it's kind of on you.
Wait. Oh my God, Jacob's so good at the game. He remembered his
Here,
chest.
so the arcane damage now coming fast and furious.
So talented, so handsome.
Certainly this life race in the favor of Maximilian Klein. How much are you sweating that if you're in Jacob Allen's seat? And I'm assuming this Heartbeat of Fandle takes away some of that pressure.
Healing back up with Jacob Allen. If I was I wouldn't be sweating much. You have the potion advantage right now. He's about to resolve his 3rd potion as well. Rampant Growth Life in Arsenal already. We know where one of his copies is. It's the first card he pitched. But once he finds that second one, he's nearly set up to actually triple or maybe even quadruple potion, double rampant combo. And that's what this matchup comes down to. These, as much as it might be funny to hear a 10-point life lead at turn 7 of the game, means nothing in the Wizard Mirror.
And here is our 3rd potion, if you will, a Phenamu Amulet coming down. Jacob Allen doing a good job.
I'm really
with this
surprised
setup
that they
now,
made another
has
healing
almost
potion.
Everything rolling.
If he can find his 4th potion before he finds his 3rd Rampant Growth Life, we're going to start seeing fireworks very, very early.
Here's a Burn Bear fired off by Max Klein. Jacob Allen taking a look at the defensive options here.
Double Sync Pillow chosen to bring quite a few defense reactions. And this
Sync Pillow is pretty surprising.
At you when you're holding these defense reactions is why the Ruban Carapaces can be liabilities as well.
Take the opportunity for some AB here. Reset the hand.
I'm gonna assume at this point, if we're kind of going for that, we're just assuming that the game's gonna end before we hit that part of our stack, because that card's kind of dead at this point, right?
I believe kept a Heartbeat. No, excuse me, Fruits, yum yum. Brings a Verdance trigger alongside of it. Jacob Allen, classy individual, just goes ahead, uses young Verdance to go ahead and represent the ping.
I love that both our heroes, both our players also sporting Marvel heroes, Marvel Verdances. That shows how committed they are.
Yeah, a lot of Verdance fans have developed over the past few months. Verdance, you know, not dominant in her early forays into Classic Construct. It took her a little bit of time to get rolling, a little bit of time to find the embrace of the Wizard community. I remember you yourself, Punkage, initially disappointed by Verdance at her release.
Yeah, I mean, I think she needed Everbloom Life, Burn Bear, and Phenamu Amulet, and Light of Leaves. And then here we are. So
yeah, if you just print
I'm gonna try and put the Earth cards together.
4 really good cards for the deck, turns out it makes the deck good. Who knew?
Burn is the way to go when a new hero is entering the metagame, and since Verdance has made her presence felt, has been an impressive force. Jockey for the best metagame.
Did Max remember? Oh, Max remembered. We're lit.
Jockeyed for
We've done it.
Best deck in the format title. On and off with Syndra, with Gravy Bones.
And that is a third plow under. You know Jacob Allen is keeping his eye on that. That means his rampant growth life that he's parked in his arsenal is safe. It was a bit of a risk he took to just park that there when the third plow under was unaccounted for on Max Klein's side. You might just get your combo tripped up that way. But now he knows where it is. Now he knows he can safely just wait for the fourth potion, wait for the...
That also might mean that whatever Max has in Arsenal, he doesn't want to get rid of. So, like, if you're on Jacob's side, you're thinking, okay, maybe Max also has, like, a ramp in his arsenal or something, and he's trying to set up for a big combo kill. Yeah, remembering things is important.
third rampant and just pop off. Bit of an IP from Maximilian Klein over there, holding back the Burn Bear, and...
Another triple red hand here.
This is god-awful. Holy shit. I think the bottom of his deck is about to be 5 reds in a row. Holy shit. Yeah, we're just trying to win the game before we hit that, I guess.
For Jacob Allen, does park it into a Burn Bear, though, so it does offer 6 arcane damage on this turn. 2 damage leaks the way of Max Klein, falling down to 36 now.
Holding on to a Burn Bear from the previous turn. And here's his third potion.
Third potion for Max Klein. So the setup is working on both sides, but it feels like Jacob is going to get to those rampant growths just a bit sooner. And as we say that, I believe has found both that rampant growth life. Or excuse me, that's an Everbloom, but does find the 4th potion.
I'm kind of surprised that he didn't fire off his stick there with his chest.
Hand.
So does manage. He's been ahead on the potion race in a sense this entire game.
Is that another
Low
potion
on
in the
life
hand?
because of it, though. Now trying to navigate how to sequence this turn.
Talk to me about the relevance of where these life totals are at for these 2 players. Pankaj, does it matter at all, or is it just when you find this combo, you are good to go, you're going to be firing it?
Is it a
So
Sirens?
what these life totals mean, because Maximilian Klein's at 36, if I'm Jacob Allen's seat, I'd really like to have 4 potions before I do my double rampant. But if you manage to do that, the life totals flip completely, and more importantly, it puts Maximilian Klein in the position where it's very difficult for him to execute his combo, because you're forced to blink first. And if you blink first in the Wizard Mirror, you die. You get Striders and you die. And he can't really move. He might be forced even to just start popping the potions to heal up, even if he's not ready with the double rampant growth.
Dangerous position to be in for sure. Right now, facing down a Verdant's Ping.
So right now, each rampant from Max's side is, what, 7 amp for the first one, 16 amp for the second one. With him having that staff, though, I think we're pretty safe.
4th potion in hand for Jacob Allen.
Come back to the Alluvian a little bit as well. Maximilian Klein did
Ooh,
send
they
Burn
each
Bear
have a
previous turn.
potion.
Alluvian is at 4, which is the max number of counters. He could have taken that down and sent the waning.
Ah, yes. Exactly what we needed in the bottom of our deck. Another red. At least it's an E-Strike, so it lets us, like, bottom one of these reds. But, like, holy shit, the bottom of our deck is 6 reds in a row. Ugh, yikes.
Free. Chose not to, however, and perhaps being punished for it right now a little bit, because if he had AB'd that ping, for example, he could just charge that Alluvian right back up. Maximilian Klein, at least on the Alluvian side of things, seems to have lost a little bit of value, I think, over the course of this game.
And look at this, Pankaj. Both players, 4 potions online. Found at the exact same time. Waning Moon activation here
At
from Max
himself.
Klein. At himself. Yep.
Just wants to filter, is holding on to that Burn Bear, wants to find the Rampant. Gonna guess based on the way both these players are playing.
8
Burn
reds
Bear
in a row.
like,
How?
the Arsenal is
Wait,
waiting for the second
how
Rampant.
many reds in a row can we get?
At least if it comes to getting back around to the pitch deck.
This is
Have we seen a third
insane.
copy displayed by either player anyway?
This is
We
like
have
Jerome
nothing
my
else to do about it, so
technology
just wait for
here.
that one. I don't think we're getting to a second cycle in this one. Once either player finds a second Rampant growth, they're popping off.
Yeah, and Jacob going to be able to use the entire hand this go around if he wants to, but chooses not to. Instead, Fruits of the Forest here had a Light Up the Leaves in hand that he could have fired off. Instead, taking this ping, taking this life gain.
We can't go off of this hand. Fucking
Here's where
double
the tension
ramping
starts to
growth.
rise. Remember the first few turn cycles where both players were sort of just setting up, chipping 1 or 2 points here and there, healing up 2 to 3 life here and there. Now both players are feeling the tension as these wizards have charged up their combo and they are just
Ring of
and
Roses,
they're now both
Plow
players
Under,
feeling the tension as these
Meritus, Light Up the Leaves. Do we go now? Probably not. It's probably still wait, right? I think we just have to wait for a second rampant. So, like, defend as much damage as possible, put the ring in play, I guess? Maybe hold the Light Up the Leaves? What are we getting attacked
wizards
with?
charged up their combo and
Burn
they are
Bear?
just waiting
Eh.
to find the final piece.
Maybe not. Oh, we have
Ring of Roses
AB
picked up on the draw
4.
by Jacob Allen, but on Max Klein's side, it is Burn Bear again. More arcane damage being offered.
Discard Ring of Roses to leave that.
Allen going to take the opportunity to get that second mode of Light Up the Leaves, prevents 6, and has drawn here, Ponkage, a plow under.
I can't help but laugh. I think he's just going to send it for 6 and not decompose because he doesn't want to break his own combo, which is, well, very telegraphed. But also, I think at this point, Maximilian Klein pretty much knows what's going on.
Here's the plow.
Checking for response first.
Yep. And is going to decompose.
Wow.
But doesn't that kind of make sense, Ponkage? If you have the read that Max Klein has the Rampant Growth in Arsenal, you know that you were the first to pitch a Rampant Growth. If you're trying to race to 2 copies of Rampant Growth, you have the edge now in this scenario. Otherwise, it's kind of a crapshoot.
Okay, I like that.
And that's why he said he made that choice.
I probably would have just put the Ring of Roses in play, but
so we are going to second cycle here.
You know, that's kind of smart.
Sure, that's exactly what you're doing to Max Klein. I think all the reads are there and makes a lot of sense.
That Arsenal was stuck there for quite a while, just sitting nice and pretty.
And like, remember earlier,
Also,
Max
pitch there
had the opportunity to play a plow
sort of
and chose not to. I think you just win the game now, right? Like, deterministically?
The Scour block here. 3 damage going to leak the way of Maximilian Klein. I want to check Jacob's draw one more time.
That's the third Rampant Growth live, which means that one he can park in Arsenal and just wait for the first one that he pitched.
Yeah, and he knows it's coming soon. Here come 3 pings from Verdance. Those are all going to be prevented by AB. Plays the Ring of Roses, does Max Klein, and has a Waning Moon activation to follow things up.
And he's online now, so this Ring of Roses is quite threatening. This Waning Moon coming in for 2. If you don't prevent all of it, Ring of Roses will gain Maximilian Klein alive and therefore paying another one to Jacob Allen. So AB 2ing this is basically giving you 4 value.
Yeah, Jacob happy to go ahead and take that bargain. We'll
Activate
check out on Max
staff.
Klein's draw. Double Mental Block Tree. Everbloom Life.
Let's have the Earth card at least to power up the Millennium Tree.
I'll 20 if you do that.
And Jacob just trying to get through cards, desperately trying to get deeper into the deck. It feels weird we're checking these draws off cycle, but it really matters when you find these early copies.
Oh, is that it? Is that it?
Pulsing Aether Life.
Oh.
Oh.
Not there yet.
Turn 11, but Ponder tokens, Crown of Providence draws, and the fact that Jacob Allen went second.
Must be
Does
close.
sort of change.
I think this is this the channel from earlier that from the first turn pitch? So then the next hand has the Burn Bear in it?
The number of turn cycles it goes before they hit their pitch deck, but we are very, very close.
So 27. And I gain 1 life. 35. I'll take 1 more.
And then
AB5 from Wayne.
I think the next hand after that was 3 reds.
Moon with just AB4. There's no way for Jacob Allen to cover it up unless he had his own mental block.
Damage is going to successfully leak here. Looks like E-Strike is available on this turn to Jacob Allen. As you mentioned, Max Klein able to go ahead and keep that channel, the Millennium Tree, around for a cycle. Feels like he's in a good position for chip damage, but chip damage, no longer the order of the day, Ponkage. It's all about getting to that combo, and Jacob Allen is going to be able to clear the whole hand with that Fruits of the Forest he's got left. This is Maximilian Klein's hand.
Does have a Rampant Growth live. Didn't quite catch what that random Ponder was off the top.
Double Everbloom.
Is
Life
it the
as
Burn
well.
Bear?
So does have a way to get to use that
Or is
amp
this just
from the tree. Has found his
Another
non-attack.
channel that just
Can put the
was
amp
in the
on
first
ring
cycle.
after you play a non-attack, or you can put the amp on a Verdance ping. Say we're playing the life side of the Everbloom life.
Here's the life gain from Jacob. Going to go up 2 to 28, offer a ping as well. And most importantly, get even deeper into the deck. Once again, as Jacob Allen draws, we'll try and get a peek as he moves ever closer to that Verdance combo.
Sorry, Light of the Leaves, not Burn Bear. Same thing.
Not there yet, Ponkage.
Finding a felling is very good here as your opponent is setting up their own.
I'm
combo.
lit. I remembered the stack.
Meanwhile, Maximilian Klein throwing massive fireballs the way of Jacob Allen. Comes in with a Light of the Leaves for 9 here.
Taking 5 down to 21. He's approaching the life totals where Maximilian Klein might be happy with just a single Rampant Growth. Especially that he's keeping this tree around as well.
And I'll take the 2 off the moon and the 20 orders.
Scary spot for Jacob Allen.
Yeah, we went at 223 and then you take 2 from the moon. Down to 21. Yeah.
4 potions and 1 Rampant Growth life means that's an amp 9 total. Alongside the tree, that's an amp of 12. I could very easily put Jacob Allen in the position where it's very difficult for him to make a play.
Yeah, but now we hit our
Despite
disruption stack.
Spelling of the Crown, though, going to offer some chip damage as well. Disrupt Max Klein a bit.
I really liked Jacob's stack this
Look
game.
at what Max Klein is working with.
If Max tried setting something up, nope, here's a bunch of disruption.
A couple of physical attacks there, the E-Strike and the Fruits.
I really like that was a very elegant stack.
I'll be honest, Ponkage, I've kind of lost track of the Burn Bear, Light Up the Leaves count for both of these players. That's an important thing to check on as well. Do you actually have the largest possible burn spell?
I think there's
to
a
go ahead
plow
and
under in the
execute
next hand for
any
Jacob.
combo you may want to do? I think it's most important on the part of Maximilian Klein. We talk about those theoretical thresholds he could hit off of a single Rampant Growth. If you don't have your max output on your arcane
Ooh,
damage
no
spell, that goes
blocks.
down a lot.
Sheesh.
What he does have going for him,
Okay,
though, despite
now
that, is
we
that his
just need
reach
one
on the
rampant
strikes
to
is
kill,
high
right?
Because of the Waning Moon. Because of the Waning Moon, say even if you have an Emeritus Scolding, for example,
Okay.
of the Metacarpus, you can
Present lethal or
still
you're dead.
leak- What's that? 4 + 1 + 3, 8 damage on the opponent's side. Whereas Jacob Allen, if he has only his Emeritus Scolding, that's just 5 for his reach on the opponent's turn. Looks like Max Klein, at least so far, Perhaps he still very much has.
What do we actually need to keep in our hand here? We need to keep the rampant. We don't need a pitch card for our staff. So ideally we keep something that deals arcane afterwards. I didn't catch what the hand was. I can't tell what the second card is. Is it a mental block? This is like fucking million damage.
For example, off of the Metacarpus.
Oh, he showed it.
Higher because of the Waning Moon. Because of the Waning Moon, say even if you have an Emeritus.
It is a mental block.
For example, off of the Metacarpus, you can still leak, what's that, 4 + 1 + 3, 8 damage on the opponent's side, whereas Jacob Allen, if he has only his Emeritus Scolding, that's just 5 for his reach on the opponent's turn. Looks like Max Line, at least
I
so
suppose
far,
we could all put all this amp on
he still very much has
a hero power.
Being discarded.
It's kind of awkward.
And Jacob Allen has found the Rampant Growth life now, Punkage.
But this is healing Max Line too as well, so if he does choose to deploy his Rampant Growth here, that would be a massive amount of amp.
84.
How much amp are we doing right now? So it's 8, 9, 10. We're amping 20 onto our stick. So our stick comes in for 21. He AB 4s, takes 17, and then we amp 17 the next thing. I don't think it matters if Max really gains life here. He's like Omega dead.
But is it enough to actually change what Jacob is capable of on the next turn? Does it take away a potion? No, it's just an E-Strike for 7.
So chooses not to go for it, Max Klein, but Jacob Allen has found his pieces. Such a strong play. When you can force your opponent to AB and then follow up with physical, especially when they have floating, when the resource floating, just feels so inefficient on the other side.
Okay, so we're just going to
He's
wait.
going to defend here. Jacob Allen taking a bit more damage.
Did he tick up his chest?
That would be a massive amount of amp.
He did not tick up his chest.
Taking a bit more damage and has the Rampant Growth life in hand. But it looks like he's just looking to pass, Punkage, looking to draw up
a spell. And he should know what he's drawing over here. He's found a few spells here. They're all one damage spells, but that's enough because you have Illuvian to pay for your Aether Tide. And then you can just follow up with the 1 damage spell that gets the amp from Aether Tide.
Yeah, so we only have to keep
Rampant Growth.
2 cards here.
Needs to try and disrupt this. If all he's sending is damage on this turn, we might be seeing...
Is that all red hand from earlier, I think?
It's just Waning Moon thus far, powered up by the Channel of the Millennium Tree.
Has an action point remaining, but no resources floating. Jacob Allen can AB this comfortably.
And looks like he's reaching for 2 cards, is Jacob Allen.
That's all we need.
Maybe those nerves starting to sink in a little bit as well. I'm seeing a little bit of a shake in Jacob's hand. Look, Jacob has been calm, cool, collected. As we mentioned, this is really his first foray on the big stage. Hasn't felt like it, though. Feels like he belongs in that feature match area. But I'm seeing a little bit of discomfort creep in to Jacob Allen's mannerisms.
Yeah, this is like a really
so
easy
when you're about to combo off on the
spot
big
to
stage.
fuck up.
You have to make sure that you're ready, because if you blink first and you miss and your combo doesn't get there,
Exactly.
you just feel so bad on the big stage as well.
You're like, I know I have it. I know I have it. I just... I know I win if I don't fuck up.
By preventing 6 with that card and AB fall on top of it.
Yeah, it looks like AB3 was the
Did we
decision.
need to keep this extra card?
That leads to Ring of Roses doing its thing, and Jacob is down to a precarious 14 life. But we know, holding the goods right now.
And here we are. Max Line with that grimace, that nod. He knows what's about to happen.
Oh, I'm
Sees
dead.
The first potion be popped from Jacob Allen's side, as that Arsenal's been there for a few turn cycles now.
Why did we keep this extra card?
Trigger.
Jacob Allen using a die there to represent how much health he has healed this turn. Very akin to how a Kano represents how much arcane damage they've dealt to you for the Blazing Aether. That's going to come at the end. Heralding a massive amount of damage after they're done with the early parts of the combo.
And you saw a moment from Max Klein ever so briefly.
Maybe we're just holding on to it so that way we don't...
That's because he's...
Maybe we're just holding on to it so we don't die on our own turn from our opponent cracking Striders. But Would that even do it? Because we still could have like used that card on defense, right? So it would have been the same thing as using on defense on our own turn. Probably doesn't matter, but
Just one turn off of comboing himself. He's found his second copy of Rampant Growth.
Jacob Allen sees the window. Does he have the damage to wrap this up and move on to the semifinals?
So he did find Light Up the Leaves, though, Maximum Incline. This was Light Up the Leaves he pitched all that time ago next to the Everbloom. We called this out when that happened, that if that comes around when Jacob Allen's comboing off, it could let him survive, although this combo might be a little bit too big for that. And also probably forces Max Klein to pitch his Rampant Growth and sort of delay his own combo for a little bit. So it might be just on the order of delaying his death rather than fully avoiding it. But it is still a little bit of hope for Max Klein because of the Light Up the Leaves.
Yeah, surviving just this turn, not enough, Punkage. You have to survive the next turn as well. First actor's advantage here from Jacob Allen, and now all 4 potions have been burned.
yeah, because then we just died to the Striders.
I think the combo's going to be too big, Brian. So each Rampant Growth is going to amp 10, to amp 20. Aether Tide comes in for 21.
AB4 prevents
You can maximum
6.
Klein by discarding Light Up the Leaves and AB4ing, but then that's still amp of 11 on the 1 damage spell, which will come in for 12.
Yeah, and you talked about that Surgeon Aether Tide advantage, Punkage, and to me, that was the deciding factor as we march to what looks to be the
Oh, wait, did he
conclusion
keep
of this match,
an
and
amp
perhaps the
1
conclusion of
card
maximizing
that he can discard? One of the discard to amp 1s? So then he can just discard that to his staff?
lines.
I guess
Top
that would
8
make sense.
Run. Verdant's ping comes through.
It's
once
worth
again.
2.
Rampant Growth life one more time. The life total continues to soar for Jacob Allen. The potential amp continues to soar for Jacob Allen. Max is doing some math. The Grimace cracks through.
Alluvian going to be ticked down here.
Yeah, resolve, amp 20.
Amp 20 now at the ready.
Discard.
Winning.
Twining.
Pushes up to 21.
Hell
Here's the
yeah.
Zealous Surgeon Aether Tide
Discard.
coming in.
Amp.
22, and this by
Send
itself
opponent
is
to hell.
already lethal. Jacob Allen needs to use 2 dice to represent how big.
Yo, give me the
this
big
arcane
ones.
weapon is
Give me the
coming for.
big dice. We need a big boy for this one.
Max Klein figuring, how can I squeeze some more life out of this hand? How can I get my maximum? AB presents as much as possible here with the Light Up the Leaves. Goes ahead, does his Arcane Barrier. But there is, in fact, the burn spell in hand, and that means Jacob Allen gets the handshake and has moved on to our semifinals.
Macarena.
Down 3-time top 8 competitor, Maximilian Klein.
You have
He
to
is
be-
a 3-time top 8? What was the other one? It was a Heavy Hitters Pro Tour? What's the other one? Was it like a calling or something? I don't remember another top of his, but maybe it was one of the 2 Pro Tours that I just like didn't pay attention to, like London or Singapore. Oh, did I just like skip? Oh my god, let me pull up a video real quick. The handshake quick time event. Oh fuck. What's the name of that guy's channel? Found it.
That's what they all say. Hey, so you're the new student, right? Nice to meet you, bro. A low 5. Nice.
Basically. Okay, did they not actually do all the games? I'm confused. That's so weird. They did 5 of the games? Huh? Whatever. Another person that we had in stream last week, Florin. Maybe it was the week before.
We haven't seen one yet, but we'll start things off by taking a look at Florin Christian Logan. And as I mentioned, somebody who has written his name in the history of Flesh and Blood, runner-up at Pro Tour #1. How different is the world if Florin takes down that event?
Oh, he top 8 Jersey? I didn't know that.
Opposed to Pablo Pintor's Chain. And maybe Florin said, you know, I remember this purple dude just absolutely ruining my time at that first Pro Tour. It's time for me to go ahead and make my mark with
Angry would do it.
potentially
Let pour of
eruptions off. And it looks
you sorely need.
A race face is pretty interesting. Fate Foreseen is pretty interesting. Yo, got them pummels. He's actually got a lot of good tech for this matchup. Like, Command and Conquer, a race face, pummel versus the Dio. That's a good spot to be. No, God, what's the name of the card? Oh my God, I'm spacing card names. The make an extra rune chant every time you play a thing. Like whenever you make a rune chant, make an extra one. It's got chains. Maybe relevant in this matchup. That's probably good in this matchup, right? You might throttle them on pitch. No yellow malefics, right? Dance of Darkness is pretty interesting. Maybe just hedging for Kano. Okay, how hard on the combo is he going? He's got the stubbies. He's got the power plant. Let's see. 2 cash in, 2 Art of War, 3 system resets, 3 tomes. Okay, so it looks like he's going pretty hard into the combo. This is pretty close to what Connor was playing, I think. Connor might have been on 3 Art of War and 3 cash in, though, but I don't remember. Same idea, though, of Stubby's combo.
Stock as massive
match area. Let's head on down.
So of course Florin did lose his game 1, and game 2 format is already decided. That means that Florin got to choose first or second, and in this matchup you want to go first. More so than just setting up your own shackles, you want to deny the Dash IO opponent going first, because once Michael starts getting those items set up, those optical monsters,
yeah, it's kind of a big deal getting to go first here.
Even a stasis cell or two to stop you from activating balance on your turn, that's when you start to feel some of that pressure. We saw this happen in the Verdance matchup where the opponent's setting up a potion.
Oh, pretty interesting. He's got a Reaping Blade.
Staring down the barrel of a cannon. That's absolutely what Michael Jasko can do. And so Florin isn't letting him go first, was denying Michael Jasko that setup.
Florin is able to call on that balance of justice for this matchup. Should have a window to get some extra defense value out of that. Kicking things off here with a bit of setup of his own. Gets the Malefic down on turn 0. Activates Chain. And kicks things off with Read the Runes. Rune Gate attacks are ready to go, loaded up for Florin.
Read the Runes with Go again as well, thanks to the Chain hero ability. So does have an action point remaining.
This is like as good of a turn 1 as you can ask for.
Oh, maybe he's going to use it for Chains of Mephetis.
Holy
very,
shit.
very strong in this matchup. It's a little bit strange because
Chains isn't that great here, though. This is like not really something that I think you want to immediately play. I think you want to play this when you think Jasker's about to combo off. If I remember correctly, it stays in play for 2 turns. So on Jasker's side, he's just going to go, okay, I'm just not going to combo off here. But if you time it where his items are ticking down and he doesn't really get much of a choice, that's pretty good. But it is turn 0. It's kind of free. Like, maybe you just play this and you just say, hey, I get 2 turns of you not doing the thing. And that's maybe good enough, and maybe I can take over after that, because by then, you know, I find my other disruption at that point. Interesting. It does have a anti-synergy with your helmet.
And to pitch. Dash.io has a lot of these zero-cost boost attacks, which you can just play from Banish anyway. Chains of Mephitis doesn't deny the draw. It just says whatever you would have drawn goes to your Banish instead, and you can play it from there as if it were in your hand. So it basically stops you from pitching the cards that you draw. This Dash.io deck oftentimes doesn't mind that too much, say from some very specific hands, say that involve a couple of high octanes and Tome of Fendels, all of which do cost 1.
Yeah, Chain's only going to stick around for a single turn cycle here. Did not come from the Banish, so won't have that Doom counter. I think this is just soft disruption in this matchup, Punkage, but it can be a little awkward. And you see Yasker having to read this a couple times. It's worth noting his teammate, Matthew Dilks, does not have chains in his particular chain list.
And that's perhaps why Michael Yasker needs to keep reading this card, making sure he's not missing something about it. Recognizes that you can go ahead and play the cards from Banish, starting off with the Processor off the top. Now, this can be a little bit risky. Cerebellum Processor is one of the bottlenecks of this Dash.io combo, and unlike...
Are we going to put counters on this?
Unlike Stasis Cell, it ticks down. And you don't have a way to get it back once it gets off the field. So if Florin can start...
Are we going to put any dice on this processor?
And he loses these processors, these very important combo pieces, he might suddenly find his combo fizzle before he even starts it.
Yeah, and speaking of disruption, Florin picking up the big ad that his team found for this chain list. It's Pummel. Disruption also...
The Art of War is kind of awkward here.
Warmonger's Diplomacy.
And he also has a widespread destruction in his arsenal. So interaction galore for Florin Christian Logan. And as we speak about disruption on his side, I want to go ahead and point out this combo Dash.io list, unlike the Dash.io of CC, does not have a massive fridge. That armor blocks.
Okay, what are we doing? Put some dice on this goddamn Cerebellum.
For the combo to be blocked with a second time. So Michael Yasker has 2 block on his armor, not even a Crown of Providence to sink away the arsenal in the face of something like a widespread destruction. So Michael Yasker is vulnerable to these cards like Pummel, widespread annihilation, widespread destruction.
Here you see Data Link, one of the key components of this LL-IO deck. Funny how much better this card is here, because you're trying to get to your combo as fast as possible. That op very valuable for these Dash.IOs. I believe a full rainbow set for Yasker here, 9 copies of Data Link.
I want to bring up something that we didn't emphasize, but when the processor was played off the top, Yasker chose not to crank it.
Makes perfect sense, Smokage. You want to really line that up for a big turn, not a little bit of value here and there. Again, a lot of differences between this Dash.io list and CC list.
Am I missing something? Is the dice just blending into the card?
This card, making sure he's on the top. Now, this can be a little bit...
Oh my god, it's just blending in. Okay. I redact my comments.
You want to really line that up for a big turn, not a little...
I now replace it with a different comment of use different dice.
And CC list.
Exactly. This isn't I'm going to draw one card in Arsenal. You're saving the Steam counters.
We've got 3 different dice in play on Michael's side.
It's not going to stay there forever. You have to make sure that it's there for you.
Also, Michael, the name, still being OP. This is what, our 3rd Michael that's like OP at the game?
When you do the combo.
So no impact from that first Chains of Mephitis thus far. First Chain Banish comes through for Florin.
And he kept his whole hand. And similar to the Verdant's combo, you can leak a few points of damage.
I thought the chain stayed in play for another turn.
What matters is that when the Dash.io combos off, what matters is whether you can stop them from comboing off. And if they do combo off, it's a smaller combo because you've interacted with them.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Florin going to look to Chain Disruption now. Has those widespreads, has a Pummel ready, has Rune Chance at the ready. There's also an Art of War in the hand for Florin.
Widespread Annihilation, though, does cost 4, so if that is the banish...
Oh, did he choose to let it die?
Before you can deploy that from banish.
At the start of your turn, destroy this unless you remove a Doom counter from it?
Art of War for Pummel, but opponent doesn't have an arsenal of their own, so that doesn't feel amazing.
Oh, it only gets a Doom counter if it enters from banished. Okay, I didn't know that. I learned something new today.
That's perhaps why Yasker chose not to arsenal. Maybe was expecting some sort of interaction, some sort of disruption coming his way. So far, ostensibly on the surface, this is not disruptive. But Yasker knows Florin took all that damage and wouldn't have done that without some way to interact.
Yeah, no blocks here from Yasker.
And this is a bit of a fork. One really cool thing about Pummel in Chain is that Florin's representing he has an action point, so it could be something following up this widespread destruction as an attack, or it could be an attack reaction like this Pummel.
It is going to be the Pummel immediately from Florin. Looks to take a card away from Yasker. Also getting that life total down very, very quickly here. Yasker, of course, starts at a lower level.
We're not making any misplays. Point at the Pummel. Discard your damn card.
The Reaping Blade here from Florin.
Does not want to arsenal their Logan Eulogy.
I will not be Pummelgate 3.0'd.
RuneGate chain lists, especially post Dirge ban, getting you give your Read the Runes Go Again off and a Logan's token, for example. Very, very strong, but Florin knows that's not what this matchup's about. He doesn't need just a little bit of value, a little bit of Go Again on an on-attack. He needs to find interaction. He wants to power cards like Pummel in that arsenal card.
I mean, he is pretty close to presenting lethal.
Cards that make Michael Yasker care, not just a little bit of extra damage here and there.
So Yasker going to be playing a 3-card hand here. Fast and Furious 0 to 60 and a Sprocket Rocket. We don't know what's on the top of the deck, though, like Yasker does. Does have access to that one Cerebellum processor. Also can go ahead and filter a bunch with the Optical Monocle.
Remembers to take down the processor. So he has 1 more turn after this for that processor at least, but 2 more left in the deck. Wants to start digging. And that's what these boost cards let you do. They sort of do double duty, where they help you just move closer to your other combo pieces, which involve other processors, system resets, high octanes. These are the cards you need to execute the combo.
Teklo Core is just cleansed off the top of the deck via the Sprocket Rocket boost. Time for Florin to take a block from that Scaletta. Follow up 0 to 60. Only a yellow here. Another boost comes through, though. Clears a blue 0 to 60 off the top of the deck. Trying to get a little deeper, trying to see if there's an item on top.
Seeing the Skeletor blocked with, a little bit scary on Michael Jasper's side. It's a card, so no hesitation from Florin's side. Perhaps Harold.
Yeah, Florin might just send him to hell this turn.
For massive discount on a non-attack and
I can't tell what the hand is, though. I think I saw a Malefic in there.
Balance of Justice also going to take its block now.
Quite heads up, Florin knows that Michael Jasper is running Stasis Cell. Get your block value from your balance. You might not be able to activate it once the Stasis Cell hits the board.
And here is a call.
Oh. Juiced.
Just getting a boost card, so Jasper not too sad about that.
Yeah.
Could have been one more filter, I guess, with a boost, but not a combo piece, not something like a high octane or system reset, which is what I think Florin was trying to snipe.
Does have a meaningful banish, though, from his own hand. In the form
Okay,
of
not sending
widespread.
him to hell then. Still pretty good, but
And that's going to be it for Jasker, so no fireworks quite yet.
Drew off of
Excuse
the
me.
processor.
Yeah, looks like
Slid his
processor
action point. And looks like he's found an item on top, Brian. Thinking of pitching the blue 0 to 60. Play the item off the top, hesitating a little bit.
Another monocle comes down.
maybe that
This
call
processor
wasn't
has
good.
Steam count on it. Just next turn, Jasper can use it again, but the turn after that, it will blow up at the start of his turn.
2 more banishes. Another Chains of Mephitis hits the banish zone here. We'll see if Florin can find a more effective window for this one.
And this one will be coming from a banish zone, so it will
Boards
come
are
in with
tied. That was the name of the card I was
It'll
trying to
stay
think of
around for
earlier.
longer than the first one that we saw this game. However, again, the effectiveness of it in this matchup, a little bit dubious. But right now, I think that is the only form of interaction that Florin Christian Logan has access to. These shackles did not hit him something like an
Is he gonna
Chain of
die?
Destruction. The Chains of Mephitis is the only thing that can potentially slow Jasper down. But that's if he's even ready for the combo. And with just one processor on the field, no arsenal, there's no guarantee that the combo is even ready. It's what some people have been calling a 3-piece combo. You want at least 2 processors and a high octane to start, and then you just start digging. For
Yeah,
card
but
draw
like
effect.
you can a lot of the times just like find the processor on your own turn. I don't think it's reasonable to line your disruption up with the face up processor. I think we are in the kind of board state that the chains is good in. Like he has the thing in play. He's got 2 items. We haven't seen a high octane yet. Also, it buys us space to let our shackles take over for the game.
Stuff like Art of War, stuff like Tome of Fandal, more high octanes even.
Yeah, Jasker has access to double monocle as well. Let's not forget how quickly he'll be able to churn through his deck when the time comes that he needs to do so. Grasp activation here from Florin. Going to go ahead and create that Soul Shackle as well. That's going to give this Read the Runes go again, get that rune chant count up. And now it's time for the widespread from Arsenal here.
From the banish
zone, I'm sorry.
And this one does not have Go Again. The chain action point, the chain Go Again was used on that yellow Read the Runes. We spoke about that when we were going through the deck lists. The replacement for Deadwood Dirge ever since the recent banning of that card. Going for 9.
Are you supposed to make the rune chant after this attack? No, because you're gonna tick down so that you can't do that anyways. Never mind, I'm stupid.
We've been focusing a lot on points.
I mean, you still could. Are we gonna swing our weapon or are we going to play out the chains? If we're gonna play the chains, then this extra dollar floating doesn't actually matter, right? Like, I think I'd rather activate Grasp at the end if I'm gonna play the chains, so that way I can have 2 chants in play. Also, hey Dalton.
Well, at a certain life total, every point of damage is interaction because the best disruption, folks, is death.
Yeah, fair enough, Bonkage. It's not that hard for Florin to go ahead and find 10 points of damage with a very average hand. That demands cards from Jasker. The window is quite tight here.
An average 4-card hand with 3 Soul Shackles as well to pump them up. I think Florin Christian Logan was thumbing the Spellbound Creepers there as well. Could Creepers in these Chains of Mephitis that's sitting in the banish zone? And potentially make things slightly...
Oh, wait, that's cute. Wait. Can we creepers the chains on our opponent's turn? Wait, do we just leave the chains and banish? Wait, is that just like GG shake my hand if that's in banish? I'll block and then activate creepers? Go to hell? You can't draw any more cards this turn? But it's kind of OP. Yeah, we just weapon then. Okay, we're nice.
As if they weren't awkward enough already. Checking out the English translation of Spellbound Creepers, Florin Christian Logan has chosen to sport Japanese fancy Iron Rod sneakers, as some people call it.
Yeah, Florin, a man.
No, but it's still good. Like you kind of choke him on his pitch cards a bit.
Going all around the world with his cards. Play the game, see the world, buy cards from these other countries?
You want to try the pronunciation of German Skeletor?
I would not, actually. But I've embarrassed myself enough on stream, I think, to not attempt.
Oh,
Feel free
that's
to
probably a
feel
cool
free to
one
listen to that
for a German.
On this widespread ruin, as is Yazker right now. This, of course, not a very disruptive effect, but Yazker knows what's on top. There are times where this just is very meaningful. Only Yazker would have access to that information, and it looks like he's reaching for a pitch here, which tells me maybe there is an item on top that he wants to go ahead and deploy.
Is that another process?
You can also like AB and play the item off the top, so it's not like you lose all the value on your pitch card.
Needs to protect it.
Would make a lot of sense.
It's AB. No,
Oh,
just
okay.
AB threes.
Okay.
It's feeling the squeeze on his life total.
Yeah, going to look to do some defending. Every time Yazker defends, he's getting closer to key pieces, but we know that processor is going to tick down on this turn.
Which means you need to find the other two pieces, and time is running out because as the game goes longer,
I mean,
these
now we just
soul
weapon him,
circles, Brian,
whatever.
start to fuel these chain turns. So
Yeah.
far, we've only seen 2 attack turns coming out from this chain. Eventually, though, once he starts finding key pieces off the top,
They have
No
not
weapon?
yielded much card
Interesting.
advantage yet, but they will, Punkage. They will absolutely do that job at some point. Last turn for the Cerebellum
Didn't want to break the
processor
chant,
here.
I guess.
Just a data link coming through from Yazker. Does have fast and furious.
Oh,
find on top.
we're
And
lit!
the processor refreshes for another turn.
and that's why he was
And this is
protecting
why
top
the
card.
name
That's why
Michael is
he
OP.
did 9 total on that turn. Makes
So good at the game.
Extends the processor 1 more turn, so doesn't need to find it off the top. He just extends the current one already. That is a big break for Michael Yasker. Can draw. Still hasn't activated Dash IO, so if the card underneath the card he just drew is another item, could go ahead and pitch to deploy it. Seems to be thinking, taking a moment to decide. The Fast and Furious was such a good boost for Michael Yasker.
Wait. Were we supposed to creepers? Were we supposed to block that with a card? And then if he activated the Cerebellum, we creepers? Go ahead and send that card to banish, bozo. That could have been cool. I don't know what the hand is for Florin's side.
Perhaps no item at the top there for him. And Florin kept his entire hand. It was just a yellow data link. So just put some armor in front of it and gets 2 cards off the top, Ryan.
That's pretty good.
Good stuff for Florin.
I'm pretty sure he had some rune chant generation in hand.
A win.
Yeah, he's
in
a
this World
spellbound.
Championship would actually catapult him into 3rd place in that European Player of the Year race, eclipsing Arthur Trejea, I believe. So Florin with some extra incentive to find a big result here.
You mean if he takes down the entire tournament?
Correct.
I do
Set
not like
32
where he
points
puts his
to
blood
overtake
debt,
Arthur
though.
Trejea. Currently, 1 down, though, in the series against Michael Yasker.
You're gonna need to
I like the
play
way
three
that
wins
Joe
in a
and Cody
row.
used to put their blood debt.
Really debating.
It was
this
like above the combat chain,
to go
kind
ahead
of
and stop
between the
Yazker's
opponent's
momentum.
graveyard and your
Found a
equipment.
nice defensive cycle last go around with the help of that Fast and Furious, protecting a Cerebellum.
So we got a blue, we got a pummel, we've got a spellbound. What's the other card?
Momentum found a nice defensive cycle.
I think it's an envelope. The annoying thing here is to play the thing that makes the 2 rune chants, it's going to break the chant we already have in play. I think he's trying to figure out how he can get to the widespread. I don't think there's a clean way to get to the widespread, though. But we can still go, like... Do we want to play... I think we want to play the pummel this turn, no matter what. You know, we could just crack chest. Because it's we're just like just short of doing everything that we want to do. There's no way to play the widespread, right? Night, Ryan. Because we'd have to go play the Spellblade, activate Grasp, play the envelope, and then we don't have resources to play the pummel afterwards. Yeah, I don't think there's a way for us to do everything. So it's probably just accept that we don't get to do that and just try to play the Venom Wraith with the pummel. So we can go like, well, like Grasp, Envelope, Venom, Pummel, right? I did not catch what color the Spellblade was, though. I think that kind of changes things.
Last go around with the help of that Fast and Furious, protecting a Cerebellum processor.
So far in this game, though, Florian looking slightly ahead. However, this combo dash IO deck sometimes can just...
Yeah, I don't think it matters how far ahead you are.
When I've seen it deal 80 damage through
You're
a
either
sense,
dead or you're
yeah,
not.
You're not comfortable at any point playing against this deck, Ponkage. You can just lose the game. Always.
Very Kano-esque like that.
Fair?
I never feel comfortable against
Yeah,
Kano.
it's basically physical Kano.
If you squeeze him too hard and he feels the pressure to just go off, sometimes the top of the deck just rewards the combo players. I think I've heard this deck being referred to as Kano, but Mechanologist. And that's certainly what it feels like sitting across it.
I like physical Kano better.
Apt comparison. Certainly as we were developing this hero, Kano was on our minds. Lower life total for Dash IO. You know, despite not being a dominant force in the CC metagame, there's not a day that goes by that I regret that decision. Seems correct.
Not dominant, but has been present, is the thing. I think
my friend Connor Bryant went 9-0 in the CC rounds on Dash IO.
And let's not forget, I mean, Tom Dowling, the calling recently after Dash IO was released, went undefeated all the way to the finals, falling only to Ben Dodd.
CYK Lionel also with a big finish.
We're going to fast forward a little.
Game who could out of no chain going to make the 4th Soul Shackle.
Okay, it's a blue Spellblade.
It's going to be another widespread from hand. Desperate for
Oh,
disruption.
is a widespread from hand?
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead and take the resource from that Skeleton here.
It's not often that you see Bloodshot Skeleton popped for one resource. Effectively like a one-time use Tunic. Or Blossom of Spring even. That incredible, majestic piece of equipment that was banned in CC.
So we're stripping 2 cards here.
Like a Tunic counter over here. That's how desperate.
Getting some amount of leak damage. Importantly, we probably buy enough time to get the processor off the board.
And high octane? Is that?
I think so, Ponkage.
So, a little bit of an awkward setup, and one card at minimum going to be stripped as well, thanks to his Widespread Annihilation. Also, once again, Florian Christian Logan representing the pummel. He is holding a pummel. However, I don't believe he has the resources to deploy that pummel. However, Michael Astro still needs to think about it.
He's going to take the 1 damage here from the Rune Chant. Widespread Annihilation follows up, so the disruption's happening no matter what.
Oh, it's a blue Envelop in Darkness, not a red. He does have the resources for that pummel. And 1 Rune Chant's already been taken by Michael Yashko, so it's guaranteed that he will lose at least 1 card once the chain closes, thanks to Widespread Annihilation's effect. Pummel can make that 2.
Now, here's the question. Do you want 2 cards from Michael? I think you do. I think you could make the argument that a lot of the times in these kind of positions, you'd rather space out your disruption. Like, I already took 1 card from you. I don't need to take another one. But in this kind of situation, Michael can still kill you with being down 1 card, especially since you've already taken chip damage and you're losing some life to blood debt. And on top of that, we're playing Chain. I think we just need to buy space. Like, make him fuck off for a turn, and then get some chip damage. Like, assumedly, he doesn't block this, right? So he would go to 12, but then the pummel puts him to 8. And then we don't need disruption on the next turn. We just need to present more than 8 damage and we kill him. And he just can't combo off anymore. And I agree, like, pressuring the processor that's already in play and saying, if you're going to do it, you got to do it on a 2-card hand plus arsenal. And I don't believe you got the juice.
Takes it here, right?
Deciding what to do with his remaining action point. As an alternative line where you grasp for an extra Rune Chant, send the Phantom Wraith in your Banish Zone to send vanilla damage, but we've harped on this for quite a bit. The more interaction you have.
I will say, though, you want interaction across every turn, basically. You never want to let Yasgurt operate.
Did you take the damage already? No, right? No, he just took the Rune Chant.
And it looks like Florian is going to go ahead and just let the damage resolve here.
Oh! Nadia, hi!
So when the chain closes, Michael Yashko will be forced to banish a card from his hand. Damage has been dealt. Pummel, perhaps going to make its way to Florian Christian Logan's arsenal.
You've been enjoying learning Fab?
Chain has been closed.
Oh my god.
Envelop in Darkness is going to be free thanks to Bloodshot Skelter, but the chain is closed, so Michael Yashko needs to make the banish.
We got the whole Man Love Club in here.
And Robert Darkness is going to be the second rune chant Florian Christian Logan needs to deploy the Phantom Wraith that's in his banner zone. We'll also get the +1 thanks to blue and
We're
black.
not
So
pummeling?
what
That's
he does is
crazy.
develop adding a point of damage to the attack while also effectively discounting it, or rather even letting it.
I'm gonna be
allow
honest. I don't know
from the banner
who
zone.
you are
Rune Gate, of course,
based on your
allow
username.
play from the banner zone unless you have the requisite number of rune chants. So coming in for 2+7 here is Florian Christian Logan.
All right, Florin, when you eventually watch this, because I think you will,
I think he's forced to
I
pop off
think
here, Brian.
this
Yeah,
is
as we
wrong.
mentioned,
I think
now
you're just supposed to
everything is
pummel.
disruption for Florin. There's also the risk of that additional pummel floating around.
We kind of already talked about it a little bit, but like you just want to pressure to let your shackles do the rest of the work. I think you just instantly win the game off the pummel. He can't kill you on 3 cards, or probably can't anyways. He can't kill you. He can't do it. Like, you still have the funny card in your banish, the chains. Yeah, exactly, Dalton. Like, taking 1 card isn't good enough. I think if he didn't already have the processor in play, maybe you could make that argument. But I think if you buy space this turn and tell him to fuck off 1 more time, your shackles do the rest of the work for you. No. This isn't Roblox. This is VR chat.
The rest of the game that you have to respect. And here we see it is going to be a Creeper's activation. And let's see what this Chains of Mephitis can go ahead and offer us. And maybe that's exactly what Florin was playing towards, saying I can put you at an uncomfortable life total and rely on this soft disruption to go
We're
ahead
pitching
and
the
get me through this
pummel?
turn.
Soft disruption plus the
Bro,
hard
what?
disruption of the Annihilation already forcing the ban from Michael Jasper, which was that
I don't agree with
Wow.
this.
An incredibly powerful, scary card. When you draw multiples of them in the same hand, not ideal.
2 monocles, 1 processor.
This might still be fine,
cards
but
and
you
arsenal.
Here
this
we have
potentially
off
just
10
tosses to the
charges.
game.
Michael Jasper has 10 looks off the monocles, not counting any boost that he might find.
You're
Although
basically
drawing
gambling whether or
cards
not you
that
win
change
this
the
game.
They would just go to the banish. They'll be allowed to be played from banish. But as far as pitching goes, the cards that he has in his hand right now are the only resources.
Because now basically you're just telling Michael that his ops have to be used slightly more awkwardly. Like, you got to make sure that the resources that you have off of your chest and everything are enough to cover everything. So it's like slightly more awkward, but this is like potentially game-losing mistake.
There's of course not counting the power plant. Which is
Oh,
once
it's
you activate it,
Jacob?
Every time you boost, you gain a resource.
Yeah,
You
the username I
a
see is
card would have to
Austin
be dedicated
Kimmel.
to pitching for
I don't
that.
know. I don't know who that is.
I think that's okay for Jasker. I don't really feel like he doesn't
Oh.
have enough to go off on this turn. It seems plausible to
How's
me.
Ricardo still in the
He's-
pack?
With just 1 processor, it's a little tricky. You have to dig quite a bit because remember, you also want to play system resets, and when you play your system resets, you have to make sure you have multiple processors.
Now, I will say, the one funny thing about playing it this way, of putting this aura in play, Dio is such a mentally taxing deck, especially during the combo, that you just putting something in play like this has a high likelihood to just make Michael fuck up of just his, like, dexterity of everything he's doing. Is this the... I don't know last names. Is this the Jacob that we make fun of and call him Sweepy, but he's not actually Sweepy?
But system reset costs X, so you need to have the resources on for the system reset as well. It means you must have found a bunch of boost cards beforehand as well. It's a bit of a finicky combo. When it comes together, it sings and does a lot, but quite flavorful for mechanologists, if you will. You do need all these little pieces that come together and create a sum that's bigger than the individual parts.
But Jasker has put out a very important piece of this combo. It's high octane. Going to refresh itself, pick up a card here.
Which will go into the banish zone because of Chains of Mephitis. Should have 1 floating, I believe, because the pitch was a yellow.
Yeah, and we're going to earn some extra information here on the back of that Chains. These cards are going to be
Yeah,
banished.
right, Dalton?
Face
Like,
up.
you fucking up
Tomorrow
someone's
Fendel.
dexterity
Tomorrow
on this whole thing, I think
Fendel.
has a lot of value.
Does need an additional action point, of course, because Fendel does not have go again.
But
which will
you
be
could have still
available
done
to
this
high
with
octane.
creepers on his
And it
turn.
feels like next step here is getting that power plant online and starting to use those boosts to not only generate action points, but also generate resources. I don't know, Pankaj. I'm starting to believe that high octane is an important piece. Let's not forget, too, Jasker will get 8
Oh my
more
God, there
ops
was
just
so
as he
much
can
ice
find what he
cream
needs,
in
and
the
there is
area
the
for this
crack of
event.
The stubby hammers. We're looking to up the damage output now.
I think there's like
Baseball ops,
3 ice
much more
cream
cards,
places
quote-unquote,
on the way
drawn,
to the
but not
event.
Really drawn because of Chains of Mephitis, thanks to the Tome of Fandal. Needs quite a bit of resources though. I think at this point he needs to find some 0-cost boost cards get some extra resources in the pitch zone thanks to power plant so that he can play his processes off the top, fuel system resets as well.
Yeah, and he's got several zero cost boost cards already. First up, Sprocket Rocket. 2 action points, resource floating.
Coming in for 4 thanks to Stubby Hammers. Does have a base of 3, so will get buffed by the piece of equipment that was also banned in CC. For very good reason, I might add, and we might see it here on this turn, pending.
You then
whether
post your
Michael Jackson
IP
can find the
address.
pieces that he needs.
Florin willing to take some damage this early on in the combat chain. Falls to 24. Yasgurr continues to get more information, moves deeper and deeper into that deck.
The thing I was talking about
Processor now
before
online with
is
the
happening
extra action
where he
point.
has the
Another
anti-synergy
action
with his
point going to
helmet.
be generated here as 0 to 60 is cleared off the top of the deck. Another resource as well, up to 3 action points. 2 resources at the ready for Yasgurr.
So not only is the processor online, so it's a
Oh
ton
my
of
god,
Fidel in
stop.
the banish zone. And one funny thing to point out is that Chains of Mephetis turns off your own balance of justice. So Lauren Christian Logan won't be able to activate balance of justice because Yasgurr hasn't actually drawn any cards thanks to Chains of Mephetis. Additional opt conferred thanks to the on hit of this data link.
More opting. As we mentioned, Yasgurr can go so deep into the deck as he looks for exactly what he needs. More cards will be drawn off that processor, off that Tome of Fyendel.
Oh, Domino's?
Florin
Domino's
only at
sucks.
20 right now.
It's not DiGiorno, it's
Again, the comparison
disgusting.
to Kano just keeps coming back to me, Brian. When the Kano starts comboing off, it's going to be their turn for a little bit, and you have to sit and see whether you actually dialed this one. It's a little bit more intricate, I would say.
Some defensive decisions available as well. Chain is going to be closed here. Cerebellum Processor now activated, so Yasgurr will have to banish that card as well. And it's a second copy of High Octane. Now we have those action points ready to flow. Resources at the ready. Got to go ahead and deploy here.
We have the action points, but we need outlets for those action points. Need more Tome of Fyendels or more processes to actually make use of those action points. Of course, there's a Symbiosis shot, which is a very good action point sync as well. It's how you leak a whole bunch of damage.
Man, imagine if he
on
didn't
the
have this
opponent.
chest.
And it's
He
time
would have
for
just
Tome
lost
to
the
go
game
ahead
if he didn't
and
have
add
this
a couple
chest.
more cards to the banish zone. I thought it was Chain going to be playing out of the banish zone. Actually, Dio is going another
Oh!
on top, as well as another 0.
I activate
boost
Pot of
card
Greed. It
pocket.
lets me draw 2 additional
Yasgurr
Pot
feels
of
like he's
Greeds.
rolling right now.
Needs to start deploying some of these zero cost boosts to get the resources needed to deploy even further draw spells. Curious note though, Art of War in this state, not very good. Yasgurr will never be able to get an attack in his hand to banish with Art of War, but he's already lost 2 Art of Wars. One was banished to the Widespread Annihilation, one is in the pit zone right now. So needs to just dodge that card. Maybe he might even choose to boost it away.
Yeah, it has 7 activations of Monocle. There's really no risk here. It feels like Yasgurr is in complete control over what he will see on this turn cycle. More damage offered here from the Sprocket Rocket.
What?
Blue T-Bone cleared off the top. More resources, more action points. Still another Tome of Fyendel at the ready here. Damage taken by Florin. Falls down to just 16.
I think Florin believes that he can survive the combo and send something back Michael Yasgur's way.
Bro, you guys are
This is why
crazy.
Michael Yasgurr is fishing. Or if not, Florin Christian Logan can still block any point later down the turn. He's holding a whole bunch of 2 blocks. I think 3 2 blocks, I believe.
Not as crazy
So
as
the
not
question is
pummeling
whether
that
the blocks
attack,
when
though.
The Symbiosis shot, pistol shots start coming in.
Chain is closed again, and Yasgurr finds cash in plus Cerebellum
Oh!
package, and he has a gold at the ready to pick up 2 new cards. And Cerebellum.
I activate Pot of Greed. It lets me draw 2 additional Pot of
Clear the
Greeds.
top card of the deck.
That's the fragility that we spoke about at the beginning. The armor
My God.
IO being very, very little, negligible. And that's because Michael Yasgurr wanted access to cash in. The gold was given to him off the Crown of Dominion at the beginning of the game. Cash in, paying the additional cost of just the alternative cost, for the gold. Finding
Oh my
exactly
God.
the combo pieces that he needs.
Bro, Florin,
Lacking
you
resources
suck.
Right now for the system reset. He needs
Oh
zero
my
cost
God.
off the Tome of Fyendel, off the Cerebellum Processor as well.
Imagine not pummeling that attack. That was a career-ending mistake. Holy.
2 more cards, fast and furious, 0 to 60, 2
Oh my God. I can't wait for you to watch this and just be like, fuck.
And 2 is all you need, Brian. 2 resources, you system reset both the processes. If you have excess resources, you can also reset an Optical Monocle to just keep
Yeah, I mean, I was really close to
and
playing
also
this deck,
recharge the
Dalton.
Symbiosis shot.
I think if we knew what the
Processor.
format was
Fast and Furious going to come
like,
in, make more action
the whole
points, more
time,
resources,
and it wasn't
also clears the top of the
multiple
deck.
emergency ban lists,
And I think
and I knew this deck was going to definitely be legal for Worlds, I probably would have been playing this for the past, like,
here at this point.
3
Start
months.
committing cards to block. All these attacks are buffed up by the Stubby Hammers. Looks like Lance says no. Florin going to go ahead and leak 5. Goes down to 10.
Yeah, just looking for
So the
more
problem
information.
is
Florin 0 to 60
he doesn't
minutes
actually
play here.
have the
There's
resources
away a monocle from the top of the
for
deck.
the
Dash
system
IO
reset,
also
right?
Still available, I believe. So we're up to 7 action points now.
He needs like another boost
And
to
2
actually do
resources
it.
floating.
I guess he can
exactly enough to go ahead and reset those Cerebellum processors.
draw off the Cerebellum.
I want to come back to the start of this turn, Brian. It was 1 processor and 2 monocles. 1 card taken away from Michael Yasgurr. Thanks to
I think
Red
it is
Annihilation and the Chains of Mephetis on the field, and yet this Dash IO deck
Is system
able to
reset
combo off with
XX?
such velocity.
3 more
Or is it
damage
just
taken by
X?
Florin. Yasgurr taking the opportunity to go ahead and set up the top card of the deck. Perfect information available.
It's just
System
X.
reset at the ready. Action point used to draw off processor. It heads to the banishment. It's a red 0
So now
to
he
60.
can
More
hit
resources,
3
more
of his items.
alteration of the top
That's
of the
probably
deck.
good enough. He kind of wants some pitch though.
Does he want to boost it right
Like
now?
it is
Perhaps
kind of
find
a
the
big
third
deal
processor
burning
off
his
the
only
top,
pitch.
which allow the system reset to perhaps reset 3 processors and stuff just too.
Is just going to take the 2 processors here. Both have now been reset. Both will be cranked.
And it nets 1 action point as well. System reset does not have.
I mean, he still has a monocle on 4. He could just leave it up.
So Michael Yasser goes from 6 action points to 7.
Picks up a Spark of Genius, Punkage.
Who needs to find the 3rd processor off the top when you can just find Spark of Genius instead and go tutor for
Do you even want to play the Spark for another one of those?
Like Michael
I
Yasser
guess.
has put together exactly what he needed on a combo turn and is going ahead and using processor again for another 0
Especially if Lauren's at 7. Like, I don't think you need to go crazy.
A little bit of lost value here because the Symbiosis shot is already at 6 counters, but opponent's at 7. You have at least 6 more shots. Not going to be relevant, I don't think.
I think you literally...
Here, but you are right, Punkage could have gone ahead and fired off the Symbiosis.
I think you literally have lethal face up on the board without having to do anything else, right? Like, you just play the 0 to 60. I don't know how many cards Florin has. If Lauren just has 1 card in hand, you just have face up lethal right now, right? I guess you need 1 more point of damage because he can block with his boots. But then he dies his own blood debt, so that's not even true.
It's a shot to get a refresh.
Gambling.
And the deck looking mighty thin for Michael Yasser right now. Unlikely to matter, though.
System reset off the top 1 more time.
I mean, the system reset isn't that good.
Be made by these boost cards. That means 2 more processors will be available here. And Florin is starting to count the block value left in hand, counting that Symbiosis shot. And I believe the writing is starting.
Oh, he has 4 cards, so we actually did need to do
Michael Yasser
things.
still has 1 processor untapped. Could use that to find a 3rd 0-cost boost card to go to 3 resources, which means the system reset could reset all 3 processors and just continue this chain of Mechanologist attacks.
Man,
Florin's got to now take the 3 blocks where he can find
so much for this not being Pummelgate 3.0. I just wasn't
from
expecting
0
it to be this
60.
kind of Pummelgate.
Yasker is going to fire again with the T-Bone.
Yeah, I mean, we're actually going to be going to Vegas later this year. The next Pro Tour is in Vegas, or the next one.
That's a blue one. Does not want it.
You can come with us if you want.
Dig for a red one.
We could do like a big group.
Florin reaching for some more defending cards here. Just gonna
You guys go gambling while we play in the Pro Tour, and then we can all join up at night.
Opting further. Is it processor? It's processor time. Finds that red boost card, and that's when you know Michael Yasser was feeling confident. Opted a card to the bottom, not for a combo piece, but for a red 0-cost boost card. Blue, not good enough for Michael Yasser.
Yeah, and it's going to come in for 4.
Balance of Justice is not active. He has not drawn a single card this turn.
Gives up the grasp, gives an additional card from hand.
And
Michael says 1 card in hand, shows the Symbiosis shot, gets the fist bump, and Michael Yasser.
My God. Oh my God, that pummel. Holy shit. Oh my God. So the Balance of Justice wasn't active. He didn't draw a single card. All the cards were going into banish. None of them went into his hand. That's what I said that at the beginning of this game if you were just joining afterwards. That the chains is actually a nombo with the Balance of Justice. I don't think that's like the end of the world, but it is a nombo that you have to be aware of. Oh, that game. I think he legitimately wins this game if he pummels. I don't think Jasker could have gotten there down 1 more card. Unfortunate. It is a Cerebellum turn, but there's a Chains of Mephetis in play. The Chains says that whenever a player would draw a card, it instead goes into banish. So no one is drawing any cards during this. This card right here. And that's what it's in the deck for. It's to mess up the combo. So you can still cast the cards from banish that you draw, but you can't pitch them. So basically you're saying every single card that you draw, you need to cast. You can't pitch them, you can't arsenal them, you can't do anything else with them. You have to cast them. So it just makes it kind of awkward for the Dio player, where if they're trying to fish for like pitch cards, they can't do that. They just have to cast everything that they draw. And that did come up. Like, he played a couple pot of greeds and hit a couple blues, and he just had to play them. He couldn't pitch them. But it's not the end of the world for the Dio player, because they have the chest to make resources. And almost everything they do is pitchless. The only things they're spending resources on is the high octanes, the system resets, and the Art of Wars. I don't believe there's a single card in the deck that costs resources other than that. So it makes it annoying for the Dio, but it's not the end of the world. He didn't even crack his boots either. GG's. Okay, let's look at what the bracket looks like afterwards. Oh, Toma Fiendel. Yeah, I missed that. Oh, Jimmy, that was the guy that I played against in the 6th round of LO. Nice guy. If anyone knows his socials, I actually need to send him some info still. He was asking about what backpack I was using because he wanted to get a new backpack. Pretty standard. We got a Gorg tome. That's kind of sweet. Call for backup. That's the one that is the new 7 power card that like you pick up 2 cards and one goes on top, one goes in the banish, right? Feel like we haven't seen any Funeral Moons. We got Funeral Moon and Requiem. It's kind of interesting. More amulets. I feel like every single LL deck we've seen so far has had amulet in it other than the Dio deck, which obviously it's in the deck. It's for Dio, but I feel like that was something that we missed, like as a group. I don't think any of us were on amulets.
That sense, he has the gift of the gab. Into the RuneGate plane still is not
And
the best
then
option for him.
already seen his because played against him.
Mr. Demir.
He's playing a
Trot along
Boomer
also.
chain deck.
Being
I'll
parted with.
leave it up if you guys
Start
want to
the
pause on it. You can. I'm just gonna
Now,
go ahead and
will
go
it be
forward.
one game?
Mr. Demir. Trot along also. Being parted with. Soul Shackle generated. Go again on that next attack, but not required. Jimmy simply wants to get those shackles going. His version of the deck wants to stack as many of those up as possible to give himself as much access to cards as possible.
Talk about a small deviation in equipment here. Duskblade versus Reaping Blade, mostly a non-issue in this matchup.
I wonder why he's
Weave
playing
for Jimmy
Gorgtome.
in the chest slot, as opposed to what I believe is Bloodchi Skeleta on the other side. So the RuneGate deck, sometimes it's going to draw those RuneGate attacks. It's going to need to use the Skeleta to fund it from the hand and make sure that hand doesn't clunk up too much. On Jimmy's side, it's all about efficiency. If they can go wider, throw another 2-cost interactive attack for free, courtesy of that Iron Weave, it's a way to break the symmetry of these turn cycles.
Gorganian Tome at its best against decks that you know are not running a copy of it themselves. The second Gorganian Tome played in a game can be a blowout for the individual who blinked first. Dilks, though,
I feel
what
like
Jimmy's bringing into this game.
the RuneGate
And
version
safety,
should be advantaged in
bringing
this
Soul Shackle
matchup.
Here for the Canadian, or both Canadian, God help me, for Matthew Dilks. A lot of them in our top 8, and promising to be many in our top 4 as well. Fernando Slaughter hits the pitch.
They don't have that
Taking
ramp
to
up time.
this turn seems slightly less than optimal. Douse in Runeblood, one of the more powerful tools available to the higher rune.
I feel like I haven't seen any
versions of
RuneGate
Chain.
decks playing
Additional
Douse.
sources of Go again sometimes lines up to make you significantly large numbers of rune chance. Here, forced to use Chain, Soul Shackle to grant this Go again, but does line up reasonably well with that Gorganian Tome to generate at least one rune chant. We're going to see the reward for that right here. Revel in Runeblood has seen an attack, has seen a non-attack, pile of rune chants fresh out the gate.
Dilks, though, needs to send off these rune charts, otherwise they're going to go away at the end of his turn, and Duskblade is the ideal vessel to deliver that version of murder. Here it is, 5 rune charts up front.
I
Play
guess.
behind it.
Worth noting, as we saw in the hand there,
I
Smash,
guess
Dilks might be a
it lets you like end a turn with chance, and then you can play a small hand where you just like play Gorg Tome, and then like one of your rune gates from banish. That seems kind of niche though. Like, how often do you end turns with like stacks of rune chants,
a variation of the deck, still rocking Soul Reaping, which is
but then
not
also
always
block
common choice
down that
in those
much?
scenarios.
Now that obviously that dice represents the number of counters on Duskblade, not its overall damage. It's still coming in for 3, as Mr. Dilks has played an attack and a non-attack. He's being offered a dice to more accurately represent the counter state of that weapon. Over to Mr. Demir. Chain activation. I'm gonna roll this back though, real quick. First we need to resolve the shackle. Humble.
It could just be a deck velocity thing.
Perhaps cards be banished by your shackle there, make a small sequencing error and get immediately humbled.
This rune chant though on the Reaping Blade's gonna be fired off.
This is very
Like,
much the bread
he
and
might
butter.
just literally be playing it because he wants an upstart goblin in his deck, so that way he can just churn through his deck faster to find the cards that matter. I was legitimately considering putting that in Gravy Bones for the same reason. I'm just going to play a 59 card deck, whatever.
Of Jimmy's deck. We discussed this a few times yesterday during the broadcast. Looking to sequence this Soul Shackle alongside a 1-cost attack. Sometimes that is Reaping Blade, sometimes it's a piece of interaction like Snuff Out, an alternative threat like High Notes, Ghostly Visits. Hoping to then use 2 more resources on one of those big interactive pieces of damage, be that Humble, Erase Face, or Command and Conquer. This time, Howl from Beyond, parked in the arsenal, will allow this Erase Face in hand to come in for a hefty chunk of 9.
Now, Erase Face, of course, a generic attack action with
That's pretty good.
Is pretty relevant. If Dilks takes this hit, All cards and tokens he owns loses all class and talent types to the end of the next turn. Feels like there's some relevance there.
Absolutely. Chain's ability does only work on Runeblade cards. If you are suddenly not a Runeblade, suddenly your deck doesn't work. And that's exactly why we'll see Matthew Dilks committing so much equipment to soaking up that erase face early here.
If the play pattern that is reminiscent of, what Ira looks
Now, the thing to think about here, too, is Jimmy doesn't have the same level of on-hits that Dilks has, because he doesn't have all the RuneGate cards, but he is playing a lot of 2-for-6s in his deck. He's got Humble, Race Face, Command and Conquer, and I think something else. I think he had one more 2-for-6 in his deck.
to do, especially in Classic Constructed. Send that small attack and then some form of disruption behind it to find good value, even on small hands. Soul Reaping's going to choose to banish 2 cards here in order to have its cost paid for. That's about the most relevant line of text on that card. It's 6 go again for all intents and purposes. And it was a Bounding Demigod that hit the banish.
You see some of the flexibility in the list from Matthew Dilks, very much leaning into those RuneGate attacks for the biggest and most powerful turns of all. Leaning into Bounding Demigon, Requiem of the Damned, the Revel and Runeblood attacks. You'll see, for example, just the widespread destructions, the Phantom Wraiths available there. So more flexibility, can have these smaller hands that function without finding a RuneGate. Less reliance on those rune chants overall.
Jimmy's been shipping the bill with much of this damage coming in from Matthew Dilks. Clearly sitting on what he feels is a powerful hand. As he Seeds of Agony with his Bounding Demigon.
Kind of surprising. You would think that Jimmy would want to block a lot in this matchup, but it's probably I've determined that I want to block with 1 to 2 cards. I'll wait for whatever's in the back to make sure there's no on hit.
Very powerful piece of equipment. Yeah, there's a condition. You need an attack and a non-attack to have been played.
Another Revel, you animal.
Revel in Runeblood comes on out. This is scary. 4 Rune Chance Creator behind his Dustblade can follow it on up. Jimmy needs to batten the hatches real quick because his life total is plummeting.
While these Revels haven't been at maximum efficiency, no RuneGate attack to really force out of the Banish Zone alongside them. It's hard to argue with numbers. Revel and Runeblood just dumping damage into play. Dustblade getting bigger and bigger here due to the sequence of
They're playing lightning fast.
Quickly. Jimmy has found themselves down at 20, but they do find themselves with an Art of War in hand, so may very well be able to return fire.
Unhallowed Rites, blue Seeds of Agony there. Alongside the Art of War. Shadow of Ursa was the banish off the Shadow.
You just got to go for it, right?
Notably, no meaningful interactive piece.
It's just a question of do you go +1 or go again. I think you go +1.
Both chain players to play a fair game. If you can take away
You've got
those ridiculous rune chants,
2 attacks and banish.
That is how you force the issue.
And one of them already has go again. You have hero power.
That Howl from Beyond, Jimmy has found another copy thanks to Art of War.
And it's going to have to be respected.
This is pretty good.
Matthew Dilks here. And this Machinations of Dominion only works on Runeblade attack action cards.
That's still a pitch card.
No blessing there, unfortunately. The Unhallowed Rites, though, a pretty viable option if Jimmy looking to replicate that play pattern.
Unfortunately, he doesn't have a card to banish to the Shadow of Ursa.
Does have more than enough resources for that. Of course, Shadow of Ursa, also an option here. If Jimmy would like to go a little bit wider, save that Unhallowed Rites for another time, can banish away the resource card to attack with Shadow of Ursa and fire in the erase face either way.
Good crack chest here.
Shadow of Ursa needs a banish of a Blood Deck card from hand to get go again. Reaping Blade for now is where our bread is buttered.
I like this a lot. Shadow of Ursa, of course, capable of having go again thanks to the Soul Shackle, but gonna hold on to that. Increases the defensive capabilities for future turns. If there are tools remaining in the banish,
just play the go again card.
Yeah, gives him a couple more options. That was a Balance of Justice activation there from Matthew Dilks. Given that cards were drawn off of Art of War, he's able to draw one up of his own. So a bit more to work with on blocks.
The chest pays for the race face.
When he himself goes on the offense, there's a Cull and an Eloquent Eulogy here. We see.
2 more cards hidden behind, 1 more in the hand, unaware for Matthew Dilks. But Cull, a card you'll want to be aware of.
When you see him pick +1 on the Art of War, but then go Shackle Sword, I think you got to know that he didn't draw a Blood Deck card.
Have specific cards in the Banish Zone. Have to be very careful when you choose to deploy that copy of Cull.
Because I don't think he wants to swing weapon at all this turn.
It's intended to be for Runeblades. So yeah, I'm very interested to see how Matthew Dilks wants to actually utilize that. Maybe just didn't feel like it was a card that he could sort of bring out. Okay, so here's the Machinations of Dominion. This is to preempt the Unhallowed Rite. So this is a Runeblade attack. It's going to give a go again. As an aura certainly was created. That's a Soul Shackle. And it has Overpower.
Interesting choice here from Jimmy, choosing to push numbers in a spot where Matt looks happy to block after deploying a card on that Reaping Blade. Understands the hand maybe not perfect, happy to play defense.
Did he block the Reaping Blade? Yes. He did. Why did he block the Reaping Blade?
This is to preempt the Unhallowed Rite. So this is a Runeblade attack. It's going to give a go again. As an aura certainly was created. That's a Soul Shackle. And it has Overpower.
Interesting choice here from Jimmy, choosing to push numbers.
I feel like you just don't block
after deploying a card on
the Reaping Blade and see what's next.
Not perfect, happy to play defense.
There's no Succumb.
The
only thing you're playing around is what, Cull, which you don't give a shit about your chain.
Ascribing to Matthew Dilks, ready to block, definitely. He had to lean back in his chair for a moment there and just take stock of things. He's got a really healthy life lead over Jimmy Demare right now. But these things can change very quickly, especially as the traditional chain list starts to stack up those Soul Shackles, start to find bigger turns off these banishes.
I will take 5. I have effects, declares Matthew Dilks. We see that copy of Cull ripping away the erase face. It will not be saved for a future time here. And that Eloquent Eulogy parked into the Banished Zone for Matt.
I'm kind of surprised that he even has Cull on the list. Is that not a card that you would board out in the mirror? That seems like a card that's like gotta be pretty shit a lot of the time.
Dilks, very easy to get that one back out regardless of the shackles. Can just use Grasp of the Arc Knight to front that cost.
Yeah, I think Matt sort of sees that Shadowverser and Banish and probably like correctly assumes that that's going to be the play for Jimmy Demare here. So he's able to find a way to deny an Arsenal. It's very heads up to actually find a really good use case for Cull in this matchup. One where it is
I don't think he was going to Arsenal. I think he was going to play it with
He gets
Chest.
the Eloquent Eulogy in Banish. That's now being joined by the Phantom Wraith. Jimmy could not Arsenal, but he's going to limit his output when it comes back to his side.
Chain.
Here's the Eloquent Eulogy.
1-1.
We talked about it. Matthew Dilks does have a list that is sort of tuned to take advantage of Eloquence tokens or being able to play those non-attacks at instant speed. Action point generation.
Yeah, I agree. I think he was supposed to wait. Like, so we're here, right? Like, he's got one card in hand. He played this blue for go again. It's pretty clear he doesn't have a Blood Debt card in hand. Why did he give this go again instead of activating Grasp? Because he's going to play something else after this? What is he going to play after this? The Shadow of Ursa? Okay, I'll wait for you to do that, and then I'll decide that if I'm going to call. If you're going to crack Chest to play what's in hand, which he has a lot of 2-for-6s, I think you know he's going to try playing a 2-for-6 that's disruptive. And in this case, it's 7. So, like, you kind of juice him if he cracks Chest. Is there any other attack that he would play here that would make sense? It's not like he plays Chain Enders that are the same as Runegate, where like he would just make 3 Rune Chants. Like, he doesn't play that shit. He doesn't play Snatch or anything like that. I think the only thing that would make sense to be in his hand would be another shitty blue or 2-for-6. Or like a Plunder Run or something that's better in Arsenal. But like, you can wait to call him on that. Like, you don't have to do that during this chain link. You can wait for your opponent to say pass turn and then go, I'm gonna call. I think that was like a little overzealous doing it there.
Impact. He gets the Eloquent when being able to play those non-attacks at instant speed. The action point generation is good when a simple Soul Shackle go again is not enough.
Very efficient turn cycle here for Matthew Dilks. Will manage to fire the Dustblade attack for 4 after this. Worth noting, those counters will be falling off this turn. Was not able to play both an attack action and an attack action, maximizing the damage provided by this weapon while it's available.
Yeah, the days of that 1 resource for 4 power weapon are about to be over.
I get an Eloquence and I lose my Dustblade counters.
Dilks
And take 1 Blood Debt.
very much aligned with us here. Dustblade counters lost, but Eloquence token in play.
Jimmy forced to play a little defense. Hand doesn't do all too much by itself. Does find a little bit of help here in the form of Unhallowed Rites. This one going to need a non-attack action to be played from the Banished Zone. Thankfully, Plunder Run more than happy to fulfill that cost.
From the hand, though, right? Or did this Plunder Run actually come out of Arsenal?
No, this came from
I'm
hand.
surprised that he
Needed a
played this
non-attack
Plunder
to
Run
play
from
for Unhallowed
hand.
Rites to be played from the Banished Zone.
Still confers that on here, but you don't get that extra
So
upside.
not a perfect Plunder Run by any stretch, but we can't afford to just take a Blood Debt here.
Like, he still has armor in play. He just gives you a card in armor and moves on with life, right? Why not Arsenal this? I can't imagine putting the card under... Oh, does he have to play a non-attack to turn on? To be allowed to play the Unhallowed? I forget the text on all these Blood Debt cards. If that's the case, then that makes sense. Like, he legally can't play this card otherwise.
Here really and have a very subpar turn. So we make the most of what we've got. Plunder Run, happy to fill in the gaps.
So we've got to go. Like you mentioned, a less functional hand for Jimmy Demare than he otherwise would have liked. Just quickly representing a Soul Shackle edition. So Repeat Blades to follow up. This is relatively face up.
Would have been a perfect turn to have that erase face parked in the Arsenal. Goes to show you the impact of that singleton copy of Cull from Matthew Dilks.
And Matthew looks definitely incentivized to block this out. Doesn't allow for a draw trigger for his opponent. Jimmy still off of
God,
Arsenal.
it's crazy that they
Shift
printed
back.
Call and thought that was okay as a 3 of.
It's an interesting hand. I mean, the tail of the Soul Shackle will be one that will change the complexion of Jimmy's turn.
He has not seen very much
Both players
Runegate
finding
or
the
Rune
third
Chant
existence
generation
in
this
some form
game.
during this turn in the hand for Jimmy as well. A card
I
you
say
have
that
to
as he
watch in
finds
this
it.
matchup. Not only does it not block, but suddenly you're taking damage and
Also, who thought it was okay for us to have Dark Ritual Lightning Bolt that costs 0 mana? My God.
additional blood debt can be put into your Banished Zone courtesy of the opposing poppies. Got to be very mindful of the life total you allow yourself to fall to.
Free to go again there. That's pretty nice. Create 3 Rune Chant tokens and carry on with your turn.
It's basically a Deadwood Dirge.
Yeah, it allows for the Phantom Wraith as well to be deployed here. So you only need 2 Rune Chants in play to get this out of Banish. Sending 6 power.
Before going farther.
Jimmy's life total. Got to be concerned about it. Looks like he is only able to account for the physical component of damage here. Yeah, Plunder Run, invert.
Jimmy finding a few hands here that need Soul Shackle support to come together. We are going to see that Duskblade swing with 2 resources available now. This was thought through for Matt Dilks because 2 resources could have been a grasp of the Arc Knight activations, put an extra point of damage, hold on to that invert existence for a future turn. Alternatively, we can rep those 2 floating, represent the invert, and fire it off at the end of the turn here to either force the issue with some additional blood debt or just cause some damage. So in this case, Matt not interested in giving additional resources to Jimmy.
Yeah, that's a pretty reasonable popper card.
Blood debt in the banish zone. It's going to take care of a race face Plunder Run, deal with your 2 damage.
Yeah, Matthew Dilks also declares his targets for invert before having looked through Jimmy's graveyard. That is just how apprised of the situation Matthew Dilks is. Knew exactly what he wanted to go for. Has a good idea of the contents of Jimmy's graveyard. So, Soul Shackle here. What do we have? Humble?
Is it better to play the invert there versus making a rune chant? I guess it's make a rune chant versus take 1 damage. So it's probably better. I think you could make an argument that making the rune chant is better, though, because maybe you perceive that your life total is no longer relevant to this game. 30 to 8, like maybe you just say, I'm going to leverage my life total and bully my opponent. And now I'm just going to let this invert sit here and my opponent's just always 2 life lower than they actually are.
Bounding Demigod, Howl from Beyond, Riftbind.
Ooh, that was a good hit.
We've got some action to work with.
Help found, no doubt about
He doesn't
that.
play
Suddenly,
Eclipse,
Jimmy
though.
working with a 5-card hand in a way. Howl from Beyond, of course.
Jimmy
not
plays
applicable
Eclipse.
To Riftbind.
At least I don't think he plays Eclipse.
Either on-attack action from the hand to come together. We are going to see the Howl deployed here.
I know Jimmy plays Eclipse.
Because that is going to buff the next attack action card Jimmy plays.
Very happy to spend a blue here.
I can't imagine that you play Eclipse in RuneGate. That seems unplayable. Boomer, it's pretty easy to resolve that card.
Here for Matthew Dilks. He's got a life buffer to work with. That's more than you can say for his opponent.
Love this. Spellbound Creepers.
Oh, Goblin, you still play this game? Just kidding. I saw your video, by the way.
What I can find.
Instant speed Plunder Run. So it virtually.
I was dying when you gave your kids those shirts. Your kids were like, yay, shirts that won't fit me for another 10 years. I was dying.
You replace itself and ideally give Jimmy something a bit more substantial to work with.
I was also dying when you're like, I'm getting out of Flesh and Blood. I'm just going to keep the decks that I want to keep. I left Jersey with 1 more deck than I got there with.
Non-attack blade.
Ooh, new shiny thing.
Alarmed by the speed. Matthew Dilks was willing to declare 0 blocks.
Remember, Riftbind only cares about non-attack actions, not whether they're Rune Blade or otherwise. So Plunder Run is going to be able to enhance its offensive capability.
Worth noting here that Plunder Run played as an instant thanks to Spellbound Creepers does mean an additional action point was generated, meaning we can theoretically both Riftbind, Reaping Blade, all this turn, courtesy of some bonus resources being made from that.
This is a really good turn.
You've got to, take
but also he's at 8.
From Jimmy Demau. His hand was a invert and a Plunder Run, and he's been able to turn it here into quite a lot more. Action point flush. Jimmy, of course, with his on-hit, Shadow Puppetry, allowing for a banish. Is it usable?
Okay, okay.
To cap this turn off.
I believe you.
Find another attack here to make the most of that action point.
Oh, that was a good hit.
A dangerous banish from that Shadow Puppetry. Jimmy, happy to take.
Wait, is it good to hit here? Now he has to take 1 damage.
Intuitive choice when you're behind on life total.
Yeah, Shadow Puppetry, though, in the scope of this turn cycle, is simply banish a card.
Reverse Uno, I take damage.
That Blood Debt obviously is going to ping him. And still, we're getting that a critical mass of shackles for both players. Yeah, Spellbound Creepers, unfortunately, is going to have to go away. No arcane damage left to fuel it. It's going to have to be good enough.
Couple of goodies for Matthew Dilks. We'll see Ghostly Visit and Funeral Moon made available in the Banish Zone. One of those playable.
I'm surprised more people aren't playing Ghostly Visit.
Healthy 4 points for 1 resource. 4 cards in hand. Looks like multiple copies of Malefic Incantation here to get the turn started. Might have been hoping for one of those Rune Gate attacks to come off the top here to make the most of those Rune Chants.
I think there's a widespread card in the hand for Matthew Dilks.
I think it's a widespread destruction on the side.
It's Arsenal.
So
yeah, that's crazy.
Get very dangerous. If we're able to trigger both these Malefics, score some damage, and play Funeral Moon as an instant.
I play Pro Tour Worlds and I don't even have that.
Fund the bill for widespread destruction.
And Jimmy's just not
I basically just keep like
that is that wide.
a set of all the cards for the classes and talents that I know I actually am going to play. Because I can always just buy cards if I'm going to play something out of class.
Grasp with the Arc Knight to make a Rune Charm. There's 1 resource floating with Soul Shackle now. Let's give that go again to the Ghostly Visit, thinking about it.
I'm not going to chain.
No Soul Shackle just yet. Instead, it's the Malefic Incantation that comes down. Yeah, this is very powerful. Rune Charm's going to be generated on the resolution of this attack.
Now, Matt Dills can take this line and take this risk with the Grasp of the Arcanite making the rune chant first because there is no arcane barrier on the side of Jimmy Nero Demers. So we know Funeral Moon
I probably
are
owned every
alive
card
and
at some point because, like, I
active.
buy and sell
However,
cards.
blocking for
If you guys
4,
have cards, I buy.
Soul Shackles and rune chants.
Yeah, not too bad at all. That card finding niches in so many decks right now, getting +2 on block because of 2 differently named tokens being in play.
I actually don't need to break the chain. This is an instant. This is also an instant.
That's right, instants don't need to break the chain.
Budgie Scalia is cashed in, funds the whole bill for widespread destruction. 3 damage here, guaranteed.
Jimmy's just liable to die to arcane damage at some point here. 3 rune charts just have to be taken.
This is the danger of 2 copies of Malefic Incantation. We know that arcane
He might
damage
just
is
die to his own
inevitable,
blood debt.
But in the next turn or 2,
Jimmy has to find out how to topple Matthew Dilks at a pretty healthy, all things considered, life total.
Yeah, these are.
there's also the worry of 5 Soul Shackles here for Jimmy. If they manage to find cards they cannot play out, including that Howl from Beyond they were willing to take damage for last turn, they might just sink their own ship.
You said you picked up Archaeo, right? That was the deck that you picked up while you're there. That feels like kind of similar to Slippy.
We're high on Shackles, so we're going to see plenty of cards anyway. A lot of blue, so that will fuel any action.
Not the worst case here, honestly, for Jimmy. Happy to see an abundance of blue cards because you don't want the attacks to be in your hand at this stage of the game. You would prefer to be able to play defense where possible, have as many resources as possible to play.
You should go try Mario.
You are hoping to banish.
Widespread destruction, essentially blanked with no arsenal. But Jimmy DeMare, in fact, he's rarely been able to deploy or develop an arsenal this game at all. 1 life. He knows this is it. His last chance to make his mark, not only on this match, but on the World Championship now. And here come the banishes. Bounding Demigon. And
That's a lot of blood debt. Can we afford all this? Okay, we got a blue.
Better than nothing here for Jimmy. We'll be able
Is it blue?
to deploy all of these
Okay, we
cards.
can cast all our
At
cards.
the least will not perish, thanks to their own deal with Ursa.
I think we just died to our opponent activating Grasp. So I think we're just currently dead on board.
Pretty intuitive, can't leave that one lying around.
But is this enough?
Yep.
Shackle made. Go again given. Unhallowed Rites comes in, empowered by that Howl from Beyond as well. So it's a non-trivial amount of damage being leveraged at Matthew Dilks.
We need to do like
this is face up.
over 20 damage off of 2 cards.
It's got to come out.
I think Matthew Dilks understands the assignment, truth be told. 1 life, all that stands between him and a semi-final berth, and we are looking directly at
Is there
Grasp
any
of the
way that
Arcanite.
Jimmy can
There
gain
is
life?
A blue card in hand for Matthew Dilks. That is all that's required to make that rune chant and send it over the line. They just need to survive 6 more points of damage from Jimmy, and with only 1 card in hand to work with, this is looking fairly inevitable.
Yeah, all over but the crying maybe now as Grasp the Arcanite on Jimmy's side of the field will create the rune chant. Bounding Demigon going to chase it into the red zone. An Eloquent Eulogy gets sideways on blocks. That's all she wrote for Jimmy. Now to clean up. And Matthew Dilks is the Damocles sword that hangs over his opponent. 2 Malefics in play. The simple matter of activating Grasp of the Arcanite.
All right, this is where he should style on his opponent and only present physical damage this turn and try to kill his opponent through blood debt.
To give him that lethal point of damage, but first the formalities. Soul Shackle banish. Funeral Moon. Eloquent Eulogy spotted.
Even Widespread Annihilation in the mix there as an additional handful of tools for Matthew Dilks. Gets to decide how best to play around any shenanigans, of course, at this point. Open deck lists, players aware of all the tricks in the arsenal of each other. But in a situation like this, with ditch much prize money on the line, take your time, run through the options, and then reach for your Grasp of the Arcanite.
And that's the rune chant generated. Shadow Versa to follow it up. And there is the fist bump extended. Team PCG Invasions, Matthew Dilks advances to the semifinals. And not just that, he shows that this rune gate chain is still alive.
That was a good game. It was so weird seeing this many chains in the top cut when like it was perceived to not be that good at this event. Okay, so next we have the top 4, Dilks versus Ian. So we got Gravian Chain versus Prism and Marlin, and then we got Michael and Jacob, Syndra versus Verdance, Dash.io versus Starvo. Oh man, they didn't show it, but Jacob was talking about how Max actually, I think, wanted LL more in their game. I can't remember exactly what he said, but they basically just like kind of flipped coins in that format and then it forced it into CC eventually. So true, you get to goon. But that's all for today, I think. It's like 11 o'clock right now. I think that's a good time to stop. I'll probably go play some Final Fantasy 7 or 14. I've been on a big Final Fantasy kick recently. I've been I'm literally playing 7 Remake, 14, and Tactics at the same time right now. Not literally at the same time. It's like, you know, what do I feel like playing at the moment? But just like, I need my Final Fantasy fix right now. Of course, nice seeing you too, Goblin. We're going to be streaming again tomorrow around the same time. We're going to finish up the rest of the top 8. let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe we can finish this up tomorrow. We didn't quite get to the halfway point today. A little bit too much yapping. But some of these look pretty short, so. And this is a lot of interview here, so. What is this? Oh, yeah, it's an interview. This is a nice camera setup. I really like this. The only thing that this needs is one of these trees to be in the middle so we can have Darksteel Humphrey back. I miss Darksteel Humphrey. I legitimately think Majin threw those games in the trash. There's like 2 turns that were kind of a big deal during both of those games. Like, he didn't shackle on the first turn of the game, and he didn't break down his equipment. It just made no sense why he did that. I don't know. And it seemed like he intentionally didn't do either of those things. Like, he had a plan for why he didn't do that, and then just got punished for it. And then in the Prism game, he fucked around and found out with Angelic Wrath when he had a popper. And he was like already really behind, but yeah, why fuck around and find out? Like, sure, you're nice if he doesn't have it, but why fuck around? He probably still loses both of those games, but I think I think those were both winnable games. I think he was behind in both of those games, but they were perfectly winnable games that, like, a couple things break his way and he's back in both of those games. But I think he put them both directly in the trash can instead. Fab is hard. Playing on stream is hard. He had a good run. Long tournament, lots of rounds. Can't play perfect all the time. But I'm still gonna, talk about the decisions. And that's why we're here. It's not to bash on him. Just, hey, there was a sus decision. I'm gonna point it out. We're here to grow and learn. I bash on myself during my own games too. So no one's safe. Not even me. Anyways, we'll be streaming again tomorrow around the same time. Depending on how busy I am, I might bump the time back to like backwards an hour to 7 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. But I'm gonna try putting some time into my guide tomorrow. If I have the time. I'm gonna be doing some Christmas decoration stuff though. So thanks all for watching. If you got value out of this, subscribe to the channel, check out the Patreons, help support more great content like this. I appreciate all of you guys that are still here watching, and have a great rest of your night. Final Fantasy time.